the heart and soul of our sport, where these players strive to become who they're truly meant to be.
No more break, it's time for action. Welcome to Overwatch Contenders.
Welcome everyone back to Overwatch Contenders Europe, and obviously we've got myself, Dustin, and Moxie here today with you guys. We have some incredible matchups today. Moxie, you were looking forward to these two games that we have for everybody today, and well, do you want to run everybody down, tell everybody what's going on? I mean, we're super pumped for today.
I'm super hyped. I'm really hoping that we're going to get full-length series from both of these two matchups because, as you know, it's the last day of group stages, Dustin, and we are definitely heading into playoffs with one heck of a bang. We've got Twisted Minds, current seed 1, going up against Ex-Oblivione up first. So that's first and second seed going head-to-head immediately, followed by Oh Yeah versus SR Peak Check. Third and fourth seed that you can see from the standings, as our lovely production is going to be showing you in just a second. As I mean, Twisted Minds. Look at it, Dustin. Look at it.
Yeah,
10
I mean,
wins,
this team's
no losses, and what that stat doesn't show you right there is that in all of those 10 matches that they've played currently, they have only dropped one map.
that's not fair. I mean, this team's just literally unfair, Mox. It just, I mean, is this team even better than like the likes of old Ex-Oblivione with their dominant reign that was, you know, a year and a half ago?
It definitely feels like it, right? Because, like you said, there's a reason why we're talking about old Ex-Oblivione from last year. 3 out of 5 of the players are currently fielded for Twisted Minds. They were able to pick up KSA, Slay, and Kellogg's. And they've also got the likes of Quartz, UB, Labda, Yazan as well is currently signed to the team, although I do believe it's more as a content creator thing. You will sub in if necessary. But I mean, when you have Labda on the case, do you really need Yazan? It's just a really smart move to be able to just take some of those key DPS players away from some of these other teams. And we've seen that the teams that lost those players and are having to adapt and find new identities, they're struggling. Triple Esports are not looking like they once were.
No, they're not. And, you know, I always want Sharp to do well. So that's why I'm not necessarily rooting for any team, obviously. But, that team in particular, I think with all the changes they've gone through, like you said, I mean, it's definitely an uphill battle. But for the time being today, Moxie, we have to look at the matchup that you brought up earlier, which is Twisted Minds and Ex-Oblivione. Obviously, Twisted Minds, I mean, star-studded lineup. What more can you tell me about this phenomenal team?
I mean, phenomenal team, honestly, like you said, is probably the best way to describe it. Incredibly flexible as well. They've moved away from just being a Pharah and Echo-focused team. Now they have a lot more flexibility on this side. I think picking up KSA honestly really helped this team do just that, because other than the main tank, other than something like a Reinhardt, KSA can play virtually any other tank available. And it's something that some of these other teams have struggled with. When we look at Ex-Oblivione's roster, yes, they have 2 tanks, but that does mean that if they get forced to swap off some of these compositions halfway through a map, they're not really going to be as ready as Twisted Minds are in terms of that flexibility. Chase Torch, they're going to be starting off for Ex-Oblivione. No Vestola at the moment, so most likely no Diva nor Ramatra.
That's something that they've been trying lately, and I mean, yeah, they've only dropped 1 game so far. Obviously, are the second seed so far, but obviously, if they drop this game today, that will definitely mix things up. Meanwhile, for Twisted Minds, obviously, they want to go for that golden stage, so, you know, we'll have to see if they can come through out on top, or if Ex-Oblivione maybe can catch Twisted Minds off guard, because, I mean, Moxie, do you think that Twisted Minds, you know, like, with their overall dominant performances through these last few seasons, do you think that they could be slowing down, or potentially could have a slip up here just because maybe they take Ex-Oblivione too lightly?
I don't think that's going to happen. I think both these teams are going to show each other incredible respect. A lot of these players have already matched up against each other in terms of the Overwatch World Cup conference, and honestly, it's not something that you do want to take lightly, because we've seen EXO in action, and here's the thing about EXO. They have a sort of ace up the sleeve in the form of Cookie. Cookie's Sojourn is absolutely exemplary in this region. It's probably actually one of the best Sojourns in all of Tier 2 currently, and it has been something that EXO have relied on for some of these other matches. So being able to have that one-shot potential forces your hand into having to think about how you want to position, because it's not just ult tracking, it's also tracking that timing and charge up of the railgun.
That is interesting you mention it because, yeah, I mean, Cookie is one of the best Sojourns. And I've always, you know, it's so interesting that a lot of people have, and a lot of players have kind of become these Sojourn, not one tricks, but really specialists at that character in particular. Now, our first map is going to be Oasis between these two teams, Moxie. Who do you think has the advantage leading into Oasis?
It's hard to say. I think we're going to see two different styles of play come through. EXO are most likely going to try and field towards something dive-related. Twisted Minds could potentially try and push us towards that rematch or brawl. But again, it's an incredibly flexible composition and team that Twisted Minds are able to field. And I think that's actually going to be something that we're going to be seeing from both of these two teams. Whether or not we're going to see the full mind games come through, because some of these teams, knowing they're the first and second seed, they've already locked up their positions into those playoffs. They don't want to give too much away at the moment in terms of what composition they're really going to be fielding strongly.
Okay, well, I mean, Drew, you're right, because on Twisted Mind's side, obviously they're going with Quartz instead of Labda or Yazan, like you mentioned. And I think it's so interesting that they would, you know, opt to go for, you know, more hit scan style. And Quartz is a really good player. I think we talked to, was it Slayer or was it Kelix that was just singing Quartz's praises? And I think we do so quite frequently, but I mean, this guy really has proven. Is it fair to say that Quartz at the moment is probably the best hit scan in Contenders in EMEA, Moxie?
Definitely. I mean, his Cassidy, by far, is just the best in the region. And it's not even close, the things that he can do on that hero. Even with that reduction on the health, the losing that 25 health, which a lot of the time when we talk to players means that they have the confidence in just being able to run the Cassidy down. You do second guess when you go for Quartz when he is fielding towards that particular hero. However, starting off towards Oasis, I don't think we're going to see the Cassidy. I think we're most likely going to be seeing the Sombra and the Tracer. Maybe a little bit of May if we move towards somewhere like University, but more than likely it's going to be dive for dive.
It could be dive for dive, yeah, or like you said, the May. I mean, you know, you never know with these teams, especially with you know, how often change per weekly or things change per weekly in the EMEA. And you know, as we've progressed through this stage, Moxie, do you think the Sombra composition really has kind of made its been the main composition to play during this patch for the past like 6 months or something?
I think Sombra, when it works, is a really good standout composition. The problem is, can you make all of those different pieces interact, especially all 5 of your players? You have to all be on the same page, all communicating and coordinating at the exact same time, but you find so much value being able to deny things like the backline and just ultimate advantage from the other side too, which is why so many teams field towards it. Twisted Minds have opted out of it. We are going to see the Cassidy. We are actually going to be seeing KSA on the Junker Queen as well. So a lot of sustainability for Twisted Minds so their backline can focus on survival.
Okay, let's see. Hands out. KSA walks in towards that point, has a lot of those heals from Echo, like you mentioned, and then also setting above the point. I mean, they're already controlling and locking down the objective while Exoblivione waiting on the outside for the dive. Now they go for it. Anti-Grenade connects just onto Quartz, but the Suzu keeps him healthy, and then also the rest of the team to back him up on the high ground. Now Chase Torch has to back up. Point already given to Twisted Minds. No kills on either side just yet, but a nice grenade onto Mamone from Quartz off the high ground. Amazing connection from him there. Without that Echo, now Exoblivione trying to recoup maybe something here. They just have to back up, wait for the Echo to come back from the spawn. In fact, he makes that swap, but during it, Quartz finds another pick on the back.
Yeah, you can't run Echo into a Cassidy who already has control of the high ground, especially if you don't have a Mercy to be able to pocket and allow you to be able to infiltrate onto the high ground before you just get two tapped. We're going to see EXO, like you said, move WMaimon on towards the Tracer, try and just play these flank angles so that Twisted Minds run out of resources, because if you actually look at what Quartz is receiving to keep his position on the high ground, it's a heck of a lot.
To be taking that duel in the moment, but actually gets poked out. Incredibly low, has to get out of there. Meanwhile, Chase Torch with the Nanoboost off of the inside angle is looking for a Primal Rage to follow up on the Nanoboost from earlier, but has just kind of given some space for a moment to find Yubi while Kelix trades back one. Kitsune Rush committed by Twisted Minds here as well. Forces Exoblivione away from the point temporarily, but now they come back with the EMP. Quartz is dead before the rally from Kelix could be here. However, KSA hands traded it back via Chase Torch. I mean, they just go for one constantly here. And Kaneo also gets picked off and delayed. Twisted Minds are in quite the lead at the moment.
Oh my goodness, Slay with the back-to-back kunai headshot on both of Exo's supports. Absolutely monstrous with the Kiriko aim. But here is the problem with a dive composition that Exo are running into, right? They're trying to dive onto these targets, but they don't even manage to, when they've divided Twisted Mind's attention, find the flip, because every single component of this composition that Twisted Minds are running has the self-sustainability to keep themselves anchored on the point. Even if they lose a player, they're still in control of the fight.
KSA just stopping Oblivione at that choke point, but now they're able to walk in. However, they have to pop the Katsune Rush. While doing so, Kaneo trying to avoid the pulse bomb now has his Ana with him, and meanwhile on the front line is able to find one. Overtime almost takes all the way down, but luckily Oblivione is there to touch the point. After dropping into that hookah room at 99%, they'll finally get the switch.
Okay, now we have to see the interceptions come through. Exo cannot allow Quartz to be able to intrude back towards the high ground, as WMaimon is just going to be trying to lurk. Twisted Mind's not running that Hanzo. You don't really have the means of being able to spot out the Tracer if you don't get found out when you're looking for the flank with the Pulse. You do have to be wary, however, of Slay coming back in with the Suzu.
Sword walking down to the point. Nana was still available. Now pops it. Cookie's able to find Yubi earlier on that flank angle near that mega health pack. Force zone out. Eventually will die to the nano boost of Chase Torch as well. KSA now tries to back up, but also gets delayed. And Oblivione, that's their first true fight win after holding the point.
And you just have to rinse and repeat the strategy. Pick apart these players one by one before they're able to fully rotate onto points that KSA doesn't actually feel comfortable enough to be able to use the Rampage to connect onto these players of X. So I really love the positioning as well from Sky. Just sitting up on this high ground, making it so hard for the Ana to be picked upon.
Rose donated early as well. Finds Slay, but the Suzu's there to keep him healthy, as well as the rally from Kellex. Perfectly timed for both supports of Twisted Minds. And now KSA just comes through to find Chase Torch with the bash of Kellex. And Slay with the follow-up. It's far too much of the Katsune Rush now. I mean, Oblivione just removed, absolutely evaporated off of this point. I mean, it's just Sky left, just jumps off into the water. Make sure it doesn't give any, kills to the enemy team. Twisted Minds will be taking round number 1.
Yeah, that's the problem when you're running counter dive and you're in control of the point and you're relying on something like a Primal Rage to be able to bolster that Winston's aggression, but you don't really have Cookie in position to be able to use the EMP purely because every single member of Twisted Minds are just so good at being able to sniff out that Sombra's position and deny the EMP, and if you don't immediately connect it onto the backline with a kill, you're not actually going to be able to find the fight win. So Twisted Minds, they do what they need to do. They burn out that nano boost from Sky the fight earlier so that when Chase Torch commits into the Primal, they're able to burst the Winston down, and without that body, EXO just don't have any means to stand on the point. As now we move towards University, now we're going to the Ramatra versus Ramatra. But EXO actually not fielding WMaimon onto the Mei. They're going to run the Echo to avoid the wall entirely.
Okay, yeah, definitely interesting way to play this competition. Oh my god, Quartz gets poked down very early. Nail also not on to that Lucio to help out Chase Torch on their Mantra 2, something you have to bear in mind, where Twisted Minds are the first ones to kind of control this objective because they have that Lucio. Anti-grenade connects onto KSA, forces that immortality field early on, but Chase Torch gets poked. Incredibly low, has some heals, but Twisted Minds again capture that point first because they had that speed. Now Quartz comes through the top left flank. Sky tries to connect to him to force him out of that high ground. Meanwhile, on the low ground, KSA does take some pressure, but it sits in the corner, has those heals, wall off as well on the main side. 13, 14%, 15 already built on the board. Oblivione now finally get that contest towards that point, trying to walk in now, avoid that Mei wall like you said earlier, Moxie. Maimon drops into this left side to break the wall as well because Chase Torch is walled off, but they're not able to really find a lot. Every time they move into this point, no kills have gone in their favor just yet. It seems like Twisted Minds have built up their ultimates fast, already built up that amplification matrix to counter the Katsune Rush, and because of it, Quartz is able to find WMaimon and then find Chase Torch via that amp matrix, and then find Canale 2, make that a 3K, and Twisted Minds continue their dominance on this point.
Oh, this is the problem when you're running the Sombra and the Echo. Even though the hacks are down to KSA from the very beginning, EXO have that Ramatra on lock, forces Slay's hand into using the Immortality Field, but they just don't have the confidence to be able to go for the proper dive commitment because Quartz is on the high ground. They have to commit too many resources, and Twisted Minds are able to bolster their ultimates up, so when EXO properly commit to a fight, Twisted Minds can shut the door before it's even open, as Cookie is coming up to the EMP, but Kellex already has the Sign Barrier to counter it.
Yeah, Kellex surely playing around the corner with that beat. They're just trying to poke out KSA, maybe force an ultimate here. Yubi tosses out the Blizzard, though, goes incredibly aggressive with the EMP to counter it as well. Yubi gets traded for Sky in the back. However, KSA drops the Annihilation, runs towards W. Mamo, gets him so low, it's only Kaneo with the heals there. Quartz is able to find W. Mamo in the sky again. I mean, this has been a round for him. Annihilation still going for KSA. Eventually will run out. Chase Torch came through with his own Annihilation. High Noon to get him low, and then Yubi's there with the follow-up. Eventually, overtime will tick, but they don't really have a tank to sustain. Kaneo eventually comes back from the Swift Step, gets the Nano Boost as well. Double pocket there. Maybe he could find a kill here. Yubi's able to find Cookie, though, so that's not exactly a great opening for Exabovione, but Kaneo's able to find Kellex. WMMO there onto Quartz, too. Chase Torch will come back on the Doomfist. Maybe Twisted Minds don't have enough, you know, utility here to keep everybody alive on this point, so knowing that they back up now, drop the Ant Matrix. But the Doomfist, yeah, they committed the Ant Matrix. Doomfist came through with W. Mamon there. Yubi's able to trade him, though. And then Kellex on the Chase Torch. Kaneo, the last one alive here, maybe has his Ana back in main, able to find Yubi. And Cookie are actually here. Kellex tries to touch last second. Kaneo will find him too. Eventually, Quartz will trade it back, but the point will eventually be flipped for Exabolvione's side. KSA still waiting in the main side. I mean, this is one of the longest fights we've seen. Cookie will eventually take KSA down, and Exabolvione hold.
Okay, now we're going to see the swaps come through. Yubi off of the Mei onto the Sombra. Now goes back onto the Mei to be able to, like you said, punish a lack of Lucio and rotation available for Exabolvione. If the backline gets separated from that tank with that Mei, well, it's just going to be an absolute death sentence with no Baptiste to be able to jump over the gap. This guy's so close to the Nano Boost is the saving grace that EXO needs alongside the EMP. But Twisted Minds have the burst potential to just lock someone down and kill them immediately before the ultimate can save them.
I mean, KSA just gets to walk in for free towards that point, already 80% before the flip, and now the flip comes through, forcing overtime. Cookie is out of the fight with the EMP, but Kaneo again been so impactful. Found fourth, now the EMP comes through, they get KSA. They did give up that point temporarily, but they do have this two-player advantage. Slay also gets slept and punched in the corner, and the backline of Exabolvione keeps them in it.
Yeah, but look at the next fight. Look at the ultimate discrepancy between these two teams, Dustin. Twisted Minds are coming in with Sound Barrier, Amplification Matrix, Annihilation, and Deadeye, and all of those, Dustin, barring Sound Barrier, are zoning ultimates. EXO are going to have to hold their ground with only a Nano Boost.
They try to go aggressive with the Annihilations here to find Kaneo earlier, and that could be the death sentence for Exabolvione here. I mean, the point gets flipped. Two people are down already. Couldn't even use the Nano Boost, it looks like. Sky will go down with that Nano. Saving it for next map, it seems like. Yubi's able to find Cookie. Nobody else here for Exabolvione besides W. Mamon eventually. Blinks away, Swift Step. Kaneo comes back. W. Mamon will get the touch as well as the Suzu there. Chase Swords come to the touch. Eventually drops the Swift Step is Kaneo, but he does go down for it. Just W. Mamon. Quartz will eventually find him. And Twisted Minds will take map number 1 in 2-0 fashion.
Twisted Minds looking just as strong as they have been, Dustin, all throughout this competition. They were just running better compositions, to be honest. The second that we saw University begin and one team run out with a Mei and EXO forgo it in favor of the Sombra Echo, it was such a higher mountain that EXO had to be able to climb. And they never had the confidence to properly be able to commit to what should have been a win condition for them. Coming in with the Sombra hack to lock a person down, stop any peel from potentially coming through in time, so that your Echo can just absolutely death drop and blitz them through. That never gets to come into fruition because Quartz is always there holding that high ground and forcing EXO to turn and deal with the Casty's position before they can think about kill potential.
100%. You know, like you said, I mean, Quartz, before the series you're talking about his cast, I mean, came through, played it, and really to an expert level. And then, you know, on top of that, Moxie, it felt like KSA was just so smart with just locking down space. It just seems like he could just keep going forward, knowing he has that Lucio advantage as well. I mean, via, you know, having Quartz on that high ground and then also him, that duo, that tandem has been really tough for Exabolvione to deal with. Now, you know, leading into this next map, Moxie, like, what does the Ex-Oblivione try to do here? Just like, do they want to play that Echo comp again, you think, and just keep that working out on maybe a map that'll be more favorable to it?
I mean, we have seen teams try and take us to Numbani to try and force the hand of other teams into that Echo composition, but that's the problem when you're up against Twisted Minds. Forcing them onto an Echo composition doesn't really get any easier. In fact, you could argue it gets worse, but at least it's going to be the enemy that you know. No surprises, Ex-Oblivione do decide to take us to Numbani, and this is where I'm fully expecting a couple of roster swaps to come through. Vestilla is most likely going to be there for Ex-Oblivione, so that you can field towards that Diva, you can go for that dive, you can defend both the high ground and the low ground at the same time with peel of your boosters, but you can also be in position in case we do see that Lambda swap come through for the other side.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, both teams making changes here, and it is very interesting how, like you said, you know, making these swaps and picks rather, you know, pre-game. It seems like the teams have kind of figured out their maps that they want the certain players on. For Twisted Minds, they're going to lock with Lambda coming back through, and then, you know, meanwhile on Ex-Oblivione's side, like you said earlier, they're going to be putting Vistola in on the other side. So Twisted Minds, you know, this has been a good map for them too. That's the tough part, like you said, Moxie. I mean, like, what do you do against this team? Do you just hope Mamon has a fantastic Echo game and just shuts out Lambda and maybe knows how to play it?
I mean, that's always going to be the tough one, right? This is the problem with Twisted Minds. You might think that you're going to be stronger against the Echo composition than when they're running something like Quartz on that Cassidy. But it just doesn't get any easier because arguably the free DPS that they have that they're able to rotate through Yubi, Lambda, and Quartz are all just the best in the region at the moment at the heroes that they're able to flex onto. Which is why, at least for Exo's side, again, it comes down to knowing what you're going to be up against, whether or not the Cassidy was expected. We'll have to wait and see and ask them whether or not they're able to see the series through, find that potential reverse sweep, and we see them in the interview. If not, we can talk to Twisted Minds and ask them how long they've been sitting on that Cassidy, because who boy did it throw a spanner in the works of what Exo wanted to run. But hey, no Quartz on the side of Twisted Minds, so more than likely it's going to be Tracer Echo Crossfire, rather than a hit scan to try and put even more pressure onto Mamon.
And what's also interesting, besides Vistola being subbed in now in the tank role for Chase Torch, we also have Crispy coming through, Moxie, instead of, was it Sky, not Sky earlier, it was Canale.
So Crispy plays the Mercy Pocket.
But like, why would you... but why would you on the Koth map not play with your like Lucio player and do double flex support? I mean, it's unique, right? Like Koth, you would think, oh, we would just want to have a Lucio 24/7. Well, it just feels like,
if you're not planning on running that Mei alongside something like a Ramatra, you would argue that you don't really need the speed boost. Because Ram has the tools to be able to self-sustain with the Nemesis form if you do get walled off so that your team can break through it. The Sombra and the Echo don't need the speed boost. They have plenty of mobility on their own. Sombra and the style from an Echo with her shift. So you wouldn't really be running the Lucio for anything other than just navigating your tank into position, which I agree, I definitely think they could have used. But looking at the composition that Exo had planned out, it does make sense that they would try and prioritize not just self-sustainability, but also potential damage output.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100%, you know, on the mark there. It's just interesting to me is all. Like, I think it's definitely like an alternative composition and like an ideology, I guess. But first point, Ex-Oblivione going to be bringing Crispy back in the lineup, and Cookie's also going to be in the Ashe to pair with Mamon's Echo.
Yeah, so we're going to see a lot of hit scan, a lot of pressure onto Lambda, but also that dynamite potential from Cookie to try and shut down these flank avenues that Yubi has available so that Sky on that Ana isn't left vulnerable.
Cookie already drops. He's coached on, falls back towards this like anti-dive angle, ready to back off, and it looks like Mamon's trying to counter Lambda as he comes in more than likely. Twisted Minds have done this time and time again. I mean, how many times have we seen them play this first point on Numbani to a T? Already connecting with that nade on Slay's side, forces them off the high ground early. Twisted Minds taking that advancement towards the point. Oh my god, Mamon did not miss there. And then had the follow-up, and then the beam too to take down the mech. Mamon, that was perfect Echo gameplay there. 3K in that fight, as well as the grenades onto the Tracer. Mamon off to a hot start.
I mean, we do have to talk about it. Finds the kill immediately onto Lambda, but then throws the stickies onto the res. potential. So if Calyx tries to go for the resurrection, the stickies had already come through. They'd already attached. KSA isn't able to defense matrix it, and the Mercy's after gets blitzed for that beam to be able to follow up. And we just see no peel available, and Twisted Minds have to run the gauntlet yet again as Maimon has been able to shut them down.
Still sitting back here. KSA goes for that shift early on. The thrusters early on to force out the Ashe, but Sky's still set on the high ground, so they can keep holding this angle as long as they want. Doesn't really matter if you're in one jump range necessarily. They're actually going for an aggressive play forward. Labda gets the nano boost, goes aggressive onto Crispy. Eventually, UB will find Sky, and unfortunately, the play was not coordinated enough for Exoblivione. Vistola has found Slay at the very least. Maybe they can come through with the weight. They commit the nano boost as well with W Maimon on the front side. So it's just a copy nano. I guess they just had to use it there. But now they can drop the Diva Bomb. Waiting back from the spawn, but Labda just comes back over the top side as Vistola tried to remech. Without Vistola, I'm not sure how you could do this. So W Maimon goes coastal to just try to escape, but all of those sticky grenades landed. Down to 1 HP, but will escape with his life while Twisted Minds capture point A.
Oh, UB tries to intercept with the pulse bomb when W Maimon shift was potentially on cooldown after having used it to navigate around Cliff. Doesn't manage to find the kill, and now Twisted Minds are going to be down 1 ultimate. However, with Duplicate and Self-Destruct, they have more than enough zoning potential. It's all about shutting Cookie down so that the Bob isn't there to try and keep Labda in check.
Okay, so kind of being a thorn in the side of Exoblivione at the moment. Now we'll come back for the counter dive as Labda goes aggressive with the copy. Meanwhile, Moan gets the nano boost on the other side. Diva Bomb to zone out the card as well. Force them away for now. Exoblivione just keep having to back up at the moment. Twisted Minds still getting a lot of pressure via that copy on Labda's side. And now, I mean, the cart's already at the front of the bus with just 2 all-2s on both sides.
And Self-Destruct actually zoned W Maimon out from the majority of that nano. He had to immediately disengage, and as a result, Duplicate is only now available for XO.
Bomb in from Cookie's side on the inside angle. Makes it to the doorway at the very least to force away Twisted Minds. No kills just yet until Cookie takes out Yubi. Nice kill from him, and with that pressure, Exoblivione look to push up.
So this is potentially where we see the payload stop for a little bit longer than we're used to, especially with the high ground control now sliding in Exo's favor. Getting around that corner is absolutely brutal. Here's the caveat. Twisted Minds have a nano boost. The Slay to put onto Labda. This is when we see the true aggression come through from this team.
Copy comes through. There's that nano boost onto Labda. Goes on the inside, actually, then comes back through to force W Maimon out of that copied mech. 1-for-1 trade copy for the nano boost, but the Valkyrie was also committed for Exoblivione's side. They're still trying to build up some ultimates at the moment with Twisted Minds. Have the space to work with to push this cart into the checkpoint. Vistola, though, has built up a Diva Bomb 2 to zone it. W Maimon, after getting the nano boost, found Calyx with the grenades, and then also removes KSA out of the mech. Fantastic nano boost engage play there from Exoblivione.
I mean, fantastic use of Duplicate as well for W Maimon, because you know what it does when he uses the Duplicate onto the Diva? It allows Vistola to be able to play peel for his backline and not sacrifice his mech to deal with a nano boosted Labda. As a result, he's still going to have Self-Destruct to be able to zone Twisted Minds away when we see their Duplicate come through as Yubi sees the Divas being too problematic, goes for the Sombra to keep Vistola hacked.
Hack comes through again onto Vistola. Still his Diva Bomb actually avoids being beamed down by Labda. 2 meters left, 1 meter left before they capture up, but Vistola's there to touch. Copy comes through from Labda. Vistola with the Diva Bomb. Now will drop it after losing mech. Cookie also got antied, so he's playing slow over the top. Labda gets back into his copied mech as well, trying to get it to the checkpoint. 0.76 meters left to go. KSA dropped off the Diva Bomb. Gets W Maimon with the remech, but W Maimon in the copy form still delaying this payload. Vistola here eventually will lose mech on it with the nano boost of Labda. Nobody else here to touch, and that checkpoint is received for Twisted Minds.
Oh, it's so close for EXO. It's absolutely tragic, Dustin. Cookie, 97% from the Bob, but the second that they lose that presence of Vistola on the payload, it's just a matter of time before Twisted Minds are able to push the payload towards checkpoint B. At least for Exoblivione, they're going to have a Bob to try and navigate into this next fight. Yubi will be able to pass the spy check and finds the hack onto the Mega Health Pack. That's certainly going to limit a lot of movements and aggression that EXO have on trying to hold that off angle.
2 minutes and 10 seconds now in third phase. Bob comes out now from Cookie towards that cart side as well. Twisted Minds knowing that now backs up after getting that sleep dart on a Bob too. Cookie as well will find Lambda though, so we'll take that one kill, but Twisted Minds were already reset.
They're still holding on to EMP. This is crucial. They were able to bleed out Bob from Cookie before Yubi actually enacts in with the EMP, and as a result, Sky's gonna have to just nano boost the target that Twisted Minds try and death drop onto, but that's not gonna work if the Ana is the target, and there it is, the intel coming through from Yubi.
Gets the hack on Vistola again. I mean, Vistola definitely is the target of Yubi and Twisted Minds at the moment. That's like the catalyst for them to be able to push forward. Nanoboost comes through on Vistola after all that pressure. See if he can find any kills with it though. Does he have the follow-up? Doesn't look like they're on to anybody necessarily. Just kind of used it to sustain. Twisted Minds knowing that, just get that Nano out. Now go and throw Nano play onto W. Mamo and Lambda will find one. Rez potentially could come through from Crispy. In fact, it's there, but on the main side, they lose Vistola's mech. Lambda does get some grenades on him to force him to play slow, and Cookie gets backed up, and eventually EMP here as well. If they find any stagger kills here, this could be terrible for the side of Exoblivione. Lambda will back up. The Rez eventually, or the copy, rather, was eventually there. Crispy onto the payload, will die. W Mamon as well. Vistola doesn't even have the Diva Bomb here, so he loses the mech for nothing. Nobody else here. Cookie tries to touch. 43 seconds left. Twisted Minds will capture on Dupani.
So that entire last fight, when Twisted Minds actually make their move in, it's just a chess game. And it turns into absolute checkmate within the first 5 seconds, because what they're able to do is force Sky into expanding the nano boost onto Vestola off of just a hack. A cooldown hack, not the EMP. So when Twisted Minds actually decide, okay, we're properly hitting into the backline, we've already denied the Diva mech, we forced the Mercy out of position to be able to get the Resurrection. The duplicates even come through from W Mamon, who absolutely has no one else to copy except the Mercy, and tries to find a Resurrection, but Cookie has already just been evaporated because he's the EMP target, and without the nano boost, the Ashe isn't able to use things like the Dynamite or even just the Viper primary fire to keep Twisted Minds' aggression in check, and they just get full monopoly of the space.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough. I mean, Twisted Minds had perfect, like you said, perfect engages. I mean, so far, playing it so well, and it feels like, Mox, you'd agree with me, where like Exoblivione's win condition has almost been just like over the top stellar individual mechanics, right?
I mean, a lot of it was down to Vestola just being able to hold that front line and peel for everybody, but that just disappears the second that Yubi swaps onto the Sombra, because there's nothing you can do. If you have an Echo in your face and you're relying on Defense Matrix to save you after that beam's worn through, because the beam goes through the Defense Matrix, if you're hacked and it comes through in the comms, everyone knows to focus the Diva down when she's low and doesn't have access to Matrix.
Yeah, but still definitely been the target so far of Twisted Minds' aggression. Meanwhile, Cookie will stick with that Ashe to go alongside this Echo comp. Twisted Minds stick with the Sombra. Vistola gets poked down so low, so early on, but they grab the health pack at the very least. But that does mean they're behind on healing because they didn't give any of that damage over to Sky or Crispy. KSA will go forward. Sky actually hit a nice grenade onto Slade to have the follow-up there of Vistola, but the Resurrect is there. On the backside, nobody able to follow up for Exoblivione's side. They do try to take some space on the point. Vistola definitely will need some help here, or at least some pressure from Cookie in that main, but Twisted Minds, I mean, they're ready to go for that dive. Yubi, though, has to translocate away. Knowing that Slay's on the inside angle, Vistola tried to go aggressive. He needs somebody to help him out there and go aggressive on the inside, but nobody was there with the follow-through onto Slay. Eventually, W Mamon's here, but doesn't have the copy to sit. Now will pop it after the nade comes through. Throws the grenade off as well to find Lambda with the Dynamite from Cookie, who kills 2, and then 3 onto KSA. Eventually, Exoblivione will take point A with actually relative ease.
Yeah, the second that they actually find that early kill from Twisted Minds, they force Twisted Minds to back off and give Exo significant space, and you see Vessel realize that immediately. Picks up onto that point, picks up that first point, and from there it's literally just space control to make sure that Yubi and Lambda aren't able to coordinate. Even the Nano Boost, which has tried to save Lambda so that he can deal with the duplicate coming through from W Mamon, is denied with the anti. And as a result, EXO now have so much space to be able to take away from Twisted Minds. They just have to spy check Yubi's position. If the EMP hits and one of them gets blitzed down, they're going to be around that corner and it's going to be back to poke phase.
Yeah, Yubi's already setting up for it on the coast. Goes for the EMP onto Crispy, and Lavda was there with the follow-up. I mean, so hard to avoid that EMP. It's such a huge AoE.
Yeah,
Ramon also got the nano boost.
W Maimon.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he anticipated that the Echo would be the target, not the Mercy, but as a result, EXO have one less support to work with, and Vestol's mech is just gone.
It is gone immediately. Has to use a Diva Bomb to re-mech as well, meaning that Twisted Minds have that Diva Bomb advantage. Also close to that nano boost on Slay's side. Yubi towards the Rhino, just looking to continue that pressure. Lavda still sitting back. KSA not wanting this cart to push past the bus. They've just been holding this corner. Slay getting that nano boost off of KSA. KSA also avoiding that damage over the backside, just doing some ridiculous diva movement. Bob also tossed out for Explobe on his side. Is hacked and then slept by Slay so he could back up, but W Mamon's there on the copy for him to keep that pressured up, though. On the backside, Cookie does get found by Lavda. KSA came back for the peel, and it's for long enough for Lavda to find 2 kills, and then the copy as well. Maximum value found there by Twisted Minds. A lot of ultimates committed on both teams that fight.
Yeah, so Sky had to use Nano in the previous fight to make sure that W Maimon didn't go down when he lost his pocket. Slay, on the other hand, gets to use it for Lavda to be able to build up the duplicate, and from there, Twisted Minds just have too much sustainability. There's now actually going to be seeing swaps come through. Crispy off the Mercy pocket onto the Brigida to be able to peel for these Sombra hacks and dives that come through, and Cookie going on to a Sombra of his own to try and take KSA's mech down and deny the same avenue that Twisted Minds are just running rampant with.
Nano engage on W Maimon. Slay, has he fallen back enough? Nice sleep dart as well. Does have the follow-up, though, is Cookie there. So it's a trade Anna for Anna. Meanwhile, they have to come back towards the cart. Hack potentially could come through onto Kelix, but Yubi's already found W Maimon. Cookie over to the Sombra now, trying to find Kelix. Doesn't have any help here, though, so the Hack is not going to get a lot of value. Meanwhile, Twisted Minds were able to find a kill. Pistola now has to back up to Twisted Minds with that added pressure. Just push Ex-Oblivione away for now.
Uh-oh. We're on the break glass in case of emergency, Dustin. W Maimon is off of the Mirror Echo and goes for the Tracer. They're going to try and ignore Lavda and hit the backline before the Echo can find them. But Yubi going down early is a really good green light for Ex-Oblivione to move in on.
Yeah, my God, Sky, what a nade from him. And that's the reason he's been starting so far as the flex support for Ex-Oblivione. Now Cookie with the EMP just goes through on the main side. The follow-up easily there from W Maimon. Nice sleep from Slay, but it doesn't prevent his death. Pistola will eventually find him. KSA is looking to delay out. I mean, very long hold, at least for Twisted Minds, but Ex-Oblivione will be moving into third, now with 2 minutes and 55 seconds.
It's the right game plan for Exo's side. Go in with the EMP and immediately use it before Twisted Minds are able to contest, because they know Lavda and Yubi are just too close to ultimates. Slay's already got the nano boost too. Twisted Minds have the aggression and the sustainability to keep themselves hidden away on the high ground and still keep the point in lockdown. EXO, they're throwing those ultimates in early, will at least have access to more time in the bank to be able to build up ultimates after his W Maimon's just eyeing where the plus-1 goes.
Valkyrie pumped with the nano boost on Twisted Mind's side just to remove Cookie instantly. With over the top, Ex-Oblivione just backing up. Oh my God, what a stick from W Maimon, but the res immediately there from Kelix, so just kind of negates that value. And meanwhile, the top, Crispy on the Rita has to back up. Lavda go really aggressive trying to find that kill, but won't find it. Now Yubi on the low ground tries to go for the hack. Cookie will eventually be there, but gets killed again by Lavda. I mean, tough. 2 kills in a row there onto Cookie. Ex-Oblivione have to play slow for him to get back from spawn.
Yeah, this is where running the Sombra and the Tracer really doesn't do you any favors, because it's pretty obvious which avenue of approach you're taking, and it's also pretty easy for Twisted Minds with the mobile composition that they're running to be able to establish chokeholds and strangleholds on every single one of them, so you always get spy checked out.
Yeah, it is tough as well for, I mean, Twisted Mind's side. You have Yubi just been so good on that Sombra as well. Meanwhile, KSA gets antied, poked out of the mech, so he has to use the Diva Bomb on the inside. Won't even be able to get remech because W Maimon's there on the Tracer. Nice work from him to follow up with that. Now 1 minute and 18 seconds left. Ex-Oblivione have some solid ults to work with, but so do Twisted Minds. Anti connects from Sky onto Slay. force him back into the spawn. Rally used as well for the available aggression on Exoblivione's side, able to find Yubi towards the spawn who had the EMP. Now they have to wait for him to come back. Kelix just trying to juggle the spawn doors back and forth. Meanwhile, pull spawn from W Mamo connects, and W Mamo so far on this map on Numbani has truly been a standout. Kelix tries to come back. EMP there. It does connect onto him to slow him down, but KSA lost the mech and then eventually his life, and then Exoblivione will capture on Numbani with more time than Twisted Minds.
There are 2 crucial kills that go down in that fight that allows EXO to be able to walk away with a win. The first is onto Yubi. Denying the Sombra the chance to be able to EMP would have been the moment that Twisted Minds needed to be able to reorganize themselves and make themselves out of the spawn towards the payload and properly take advantage of the ultimates that some of them were really close to. And that brings me to the second most important kill, which is W Maimon finding the pulse bomb stick onto Slay, who was so close to the nano boost that could have been used for Twisted Minds to be able to put onto KSA's mech to be able to literally just keep that eternal cycle of respawn contest going when the payload is that close to defense.
I mean, it seems like a team now that could definitely beat the likes of Twisted Minds, or at least bring us to a draw on this map, right, Moxie? It just seems like Exoblivione, you know, also with Sky coming through, obviously, you know, at the very beginning, you know, after Sky was dropped off of the London Spitfire, or at least he left the team, right? Now coming through and being that starter for Exoblivione over Canale, I mean, that's been a pretty big difference maker too for this team.
Yeah, I think again, like, it took a little bit of time, like you said. He only got announced moving on to EXO, I think it was like 11 minutes before we actually went live with our very first match of Contenders Summer Series. So it definitely took a little bit of time for that synergy to establish, but once it locked in, you really do see that they just have so much trust on Sky being able to come in with those utilities and keep Yubi in check, and they're going to have to rely on it once again, as Yubi once again is on the Sombra, and if he gets his way, Vestola is going to be absolutely useless.
Yubi poked out, has to back up to a health pack. Meanwhile, Vestola over the top goes for that dive, knowing there's no Sombra here to help. Twisted Minds can easily find Labdo with W Mamo over the top. 25 seconds left now, and they want more. Exoblivione going all the way to the spawn doors, basically. With 20 seconds left, now Twisted Minds have to regroup.
There's denying a res, and then there's literally just aggressively pushing onto Twisted Minds so that they don't have time to be able to organize themselves into building ultimate charge. However, with the poke phase going through, Slay is able to establish a further ultimate charge on the nano boost than Sky, so it really is an arms race, but Maimon with that damage is already close to duplicate.
I mean, that's such a fast duplicate. Now goes aggressive on to Slane. Gets the copy. Nice sleep, though. And then immediately removes that copy, too. But out of the copy, he comes through to find KSA.
Oh, no!
And nobody's there to touch the point either. Twisted Minds get held on their offensive attack.
They all back up in anticipation of the Echo going for the Ana duplicate and not wanting to, as a group, get caught by the Antinate. It's become such a commonplace practice for Echoes, especially on Numbani, to literally just copy the Ana because they can drop down and land the Antinate from an angle where you're not ready to be able to hide from its line of sight. But unfortunately, in that instance, hiding away from that potential Antinate costs Twisted Minds because they get pushed further away from the point, so when they lose the presence on it, no one is within distance to be able to keep overtime going. And Dustin, we could potentially see a draw on Numbani, or we could potentially see an EXO win. You have 1 minute and 3 seconds, more than enough time, as we've seen, to be able to build up something like a nano boost, a duplicate, or an EMP. But your first dive has to be fruitful. You cannot be pushed off of this angle and forced to wait around.
Yeah, it's all on Exoblivione right now. You know, 1 minute and 3 seconds to capture that first point. Basically, like you said, like one fight. Twisted Minds side, I mean, they've got to be a little worried, but if they get if they at least stop Exoblivione here, it'll at least end up as a draw.
Yubi just sitting around those spawn doors, trying to find intel of what exactly the team is going to be running up against, conveying it over, and just waiting to hack that right target so EXO aren't able to coordinate this dive fully.
Twisted Minds play back, though, and actually, meanwhile, Cookie's already touching that point. Ready to go with the hack onto KSA. Immediately the dive comes through, at least pushes Twisted Minds off of the top. Now Vestola has all of the point control. can dash above, do whatever he wants, basically has the line of sight in that main from his healers. Crispy's able to find UV2 after he went towards the point on the Brigitte. Amazing work from the main support of Explovione. Now WMMO just in the inside angle can just do whatever he wants. Pistola finds Slay. I mean, this is collapsing at the moment for Twisted Mind. Lambda finds one, but it's not enough. And Explovione will tie the series 1-1.
It is a perfect example of how you want to really cleanly take just one tick of Numbani. Like you said, the boost is coming through from Vestola to be able to land that dive onto the high ground and force everyone on their defense off of it. Absolutely perfect. The point presence established on the point early as well. Really good because it forces Twisted Mind's hands in terms of their positioning and it leaves KSA vulnerable. KSA as the target, as the tank, as the one who has the means of being able to go between the low ground and the high ground with those boosters, is the one expected to touch. When you're running the Ana, well, you're not going to throw your Ana to the wolves, and you're certainly not going to have your Mercy abandon the pocket of the Echo. So it forces the Diva onto that point, and it actually shepherds KSA right into the waiting arms of Cookie. Vestola doesn't get hacked once in that dive. KSA, every single time the hack runs out, he's got another one keeping him in check, and it just means that Vestola gets so much more control, like you said, of the low ground, but also of the high ground as well. So there is no contest that Twisted Minds can actually organize themselves into being, because they just don't have that line of sight onto their tank to have built up the nano as quickly as they want.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're right. Cookie, I think, Flex over that Sombra has been a big difference maker for them. And then also, I don't think Twisted Minds expected the likes of WMMO to pop off that hard. I mean, such a great map for Explovione to win. We'll have to see if they could do it maybe when different compositions come through. But before we get to see that, we will be going to a short break. When we come back, we'll be here for that out number 3.
You like solving problems. Problems like how to stop that tracer from deleting your backline. I know just what you're thinking. You'll bring a turret. But y'all can't solve all your problems by simply bringing an extra friend to the battlefield. For that, you need the Contenders Torbjorn skin. Solve your problems by connecting your Battle.net account to Twitch. After that, watching Overwatch Contenders Summer Series will contribute to your drops progress, letting you claim your Overwatch Contenders Torbjorn skin. Even your turret gets an upgrade. Warning, the Overwatch Contenders Torbjorn skin does not come with extra or upgraded turrets. Build instructions will not be provided. By picking Torbjorn, you waive a claim towards any destroyed turrets. No refunds, no exchanges, and no take-backsies.
Welcome back, everybody. We have an incredibly exhilarating match for you guys right now. We have Twisted Minds in the side of, I was going to say, oh yeah, for some reason, Oblivione going 1-1 at the moment. Twisted Minds dropping that last map on Numbani to the likes of Oblivione. Now have that map choice, Moxie. I mean, is this the closest game that we've seen from Twisted Minds so far this season?
So they did drop one map against Raspberry Racers. However, like looking at how close that Numbani map was, yeah, this is the second map that they've dropped in the entirety of the group stages of the summer series. They have now only dropped 2 maps, and like you said, now they have the benefit of being able to choose where exactly they take us to, and it feels like we're going to be moving away from the Echo. It feels like we're going to go back towards something which they feel just extremely stronger at. Going for something like that. Ramattra, KSA does have the Diva if they do want to try and field some form of dive, but Ramattra is just incredibly strong on this map, as well as Quartz and Yubi just getting so much more space to be able to flank around, because I think one thing we do have to talk about in terms of that last map of Numbani was that Yubi was not getting as much space, at least not on that second side, when they were anticipating that Sombra trying to infiltrate towards the tank.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if Yubi can maybe figure out that play style, because Quartz is being subbed back in, and meanwhile on the other side, you know, Oblivione obviously lost that first control map with this team, and will be coming back through with Canale and Chase Torch going on to route.
And Cookie as well could potentially run something like the Sojourn. I would expect that we see something like a dive come out from Chase Torch. So more than likely we are going to be seeing W Mayman trying to stick towards that Tracer and just push towards the backline so that the rest of your pieces have a little bit more space, a little bit less attention focused on them, because diving onto Route 66, especially the high ground of that first point, can be pretty dicey if you don't have something like a Nano Boost to give the Winston the damage reduction needed.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if this double flex support comp, by the way, works for Oblivione, Moxie. I mean, on map number 1 Control, that's why I thought it was like a little odd, but you know, maybe moving over to Escort, you think that this comp could be better with the double flex support?
Well, we could potentially be seeing a couple of different things. Chase Torch could try and field towards something like an Orisa so that Canale can play that Moira, which is something that we have seen on occasion. It is one of, in my opinion, his most niche, but definitely one of his stronger picks. In fact, I would probably say that Canale has the best Moira at the moment in the EU Tier 2 region. So it's really interesting to see what compositions these teams are actually going to field, because like we saw from Numbani and also on that first map of Control, it is a chess match between these two teams. There's a sort of pendulum shift going on where one team comes out with a composition and it takes a little bit of time for the other side to try and download what exactly they're running into, how exactly they're going to work around it before swinging back in with a different composition of their own. And Route 66, I feel, is going to be no different.
Oh no, you're right. I mean, this is like the highest level of Contenders EME we've seen. I mean, thus far, at least in the summer series. So, you know, between these two teams, they obviously can play that Sombra to a decent level. Both UB and Cookie have proven to play those heroes. And meanwhile, for Oblivione's side, obviously, you know, that's such an interesting dynamic, Moxie. This, like, I really feel like that's kind of the focal point, at least for me. Obviously, Chase Torch coming in is huge because, like you said earlier, I mean, Vistola played so good on that Diva. Unfortunately for Chase Torch on that map number 1, it obviously didn't go in their favor. But I feel like that 3 support lineup, obviously subbing out Crispy and then bringing Canale back in to pair along Sky. I mean, you called it, like, Canale has the hero pool. I don't know. Like, it's so interesting to me that this double flex support composition that really is not seen like elsewhere, honestly.
I bet it is risky. We already saw what happened when you do lack a Lucio, but again, when you're running a dive composition, you don't really need the Lucio because everyone else has that mobility to be able to engage and disengage themselves out safely. There's a reason why when we see these dives at the moment come through, both at this level and in Tier 1 as well, it's Ana paired with Brigitte, no longer Ana paired with the Lucio, which is a really interesting adaptation because the Lucio used to be the thing that would keep the Ana safe, but so often now we literally just see Brigitte's attached, almost anchored to the side of the Ana with that shield to try and save them when that dive comes through, because now one of the forms of CC this composition has is the break flail to connect onto the Winston mid-jump.
Well, exactly. That you brought it up perfectly. I mean, that's the interesting aspect of Explosione, where because they have, Canale back in the lineup with Sky, they're just giving up on even the Brigitte too, right? Because neither Sky or Canale they could play the Brig, but obviously they haven't shown that they're going to. So they're obviously, banking on the fact that either that Mercy and the Brigitte, they don't have to worry about those because they've been playing that Kariko, and then they were going to play like either Bap or Anna basically with those two. I mean, it's definitely unique, but like you said, it just feels like Brigitte's too valuable at the moment, right?
Well, we could see the Bap Anna lineup come through. A lot of burst healing, but also a lot of survivability. If your Anna does with things like the Sleep Dart, which has a pretty costly cooldown, as well as now being a lot less effective against tanks, you do have Immortality Field to be able to fall back onto at least. The question is, are we going to see that full level of commitment to stop a dive from coming through? Because dive is always a really weird composition when you're a backline player and you're trying to think about how to prevent it. Because you don't want to burn Immortality Field. Dive is always the initiation from the other side. Something is going to come after that dive is initiated, and it's going to come in the form of something like a Narrowed Winston or a Tracer Pulse Bomb. And then if you've already burnt out Immortality Field, you're just going to lose the fight because you have no way of sustaining through either.
Yeah, I just think it's so odd to, it's not odd, sorry, you're right. Like, I just think there's too much variability, I guess, with that composition, Moxie. Just like you're relying too much on like the mechanical prowess rather than just like consistent gameplay. And yeah, I don't know, like I talked to, what was it, the GM of Florida Mayhem, like he was talking about how, teams will like not play certain, like they'll like remove certain players or just like be lacking a good Brigitte player, so they'll kind of lose faith in like the Brigitte compositions. But like it doesn't really matter, I guess, like long term if you just run the Brigitte in general, just because she's such a strong hero, even if you have like a weak player playing the Brig, for example. Not that Explosione has a weak Brig player. Obviously Crispy's a fantastic Brig, but when they put in Sky and Canale, we know what they're trying to do. And meanwhile, for Twisted Minds, when they summon Quartz, we also know what they're trying to do, right?
Hit scan. Definitely hit scan coming through. I mean, they could play the Sombra Trace if they wanted to, but when you're defending on Route 66 and you literally get gift wrapped all of these really nice long lines of sights and high ground to boot, you 100% rock on the hit scan, and no surprises, it's going to be canonically friendly as well. Quartz is going to be playing towards the Ash, and is just going to be sitting up on the high ground, so if EXO do commit to something like a dive composition, Coach Gun and Brigitte Flail is going to be there, and they've even got KSA playing on the Junker Queen, so if your backline is occupied trying to deal with the Winston, you're not even giving up cart presence, because the Junker Queen can sustain through it.
Explosione will walk out of the spawn with the Anna Kariko. Again, like they did previously on the first map they played, which was Oasis. Knowing that, Twisted Minds just get to play back with that Brigitte and Kariko that they did earlier as well. So pretty much a very similar vibe to we got on Oasis.
Ooh, KSA almost finding that Jagged Blade. If one of those players gets yanked onto the high ground, it is a death sentence, and everyone's going to have to peel for them as the dive does come through. But again, here's the problem. There is no need for peel because Twisted Minds players can look after each other, and EXO don't get that distraction to keep the payload moving.
Yeah, J-Source just jumps in. Anti-connect on the KSA, though, and there was no Suzu there from Slay to keep KSA alive, so without their Junker Queen, they just have to back up. Quartz gets picked off, too, and it seems like Explosione on a roll at the moment. First fight win for them.
That is the one problem that Twisted Minds are going to continue to run into. If they don't have the Suzu to cleanse the anti-nade, EXO don't have to worry about Junker Queen sustainability, because yes, the shout does go through the anti, technically it's not a heal, but you still don't find the sustainability off of the wound percentage damage that you do. And as a result, they have to lose even more room.
Anti connects onto Kelix. Suzu is there early on. KSA now has to drop, no Suzu available for them. Explosione would try to walk in. No ultimates just yet, though. Pulse Bomb has been built for W Maymon. Comes over the right side. Suzu's still available, surely, so it popped there. But after the Suzu's dissipated, W Maymon's there with the follow-up onto Slay to make sure that he is gone. Quartz, though, will find W Maymon, who had to just kind of evade those Ash shots. Nano Boost as well connects. KSA will fall. There is no Kariko here because Slay's walking back from the spawn still. This Brigitte just desperately tries to run away from a nano boosted monkey, but there's nobody else here now for Twisted Minds' side. Exblavione will move on to second.
Oh, late kill onto Quartz as well. That's really painful because you need the Ashe to be able to contest the high ground. UB actually now going to be going on towards the Mei just to try and isolate some of these players from EXO and potentially punish Chase Torch being separated from the Ana and the Kiriko with the line of sight. Yes, EXO don't have the nano boost to engage into this next fight, but they don't need it. Chase Torch has the primal, so he can play as aggressive as he wants.
KSA will walk in here, but they are kind of zoned out by the bubble. Use the rally, Kitsune rush here as well. Try to find that burst. They're able to find Sky over that right side. Now they're just trying to continue to push forward, get value out of their ultimates at the moment. Cookie is able to back up though, and Chase Torch too, and give those heals to Sky in the spawn as well. I mean, that's not that bad for EXO.
Yeah, but it cost Twisted Minds both support ultimates. They do, however, with that commitment, buy themselves high ground control for Quartz, who can now really get to work with the Dynamite, just AoE controlling EXO before the dive can properly come through.
Chase Torch walks out the cave side, actually just counter Quartz, like you said. Slay had to go for that swift step. Bob here towards the cart, but because he went to that lower side and they knew that the Ana wasn't with Cookie, they're able to find Cookie on the low. Also, Bob gets removed, but KSA gets antied. Primal Rage was there as well. Chase Torch already found one. Make that two onto Kelix. And with the opening, now he looks for Quartz as well at the end of the Primal Rage, able to find him with a snipe. Two, I mean, Twisted Minds now going back to the spawn. Yubi just looking to delay. Build up that blizzard. Eventually will get found.
Mei is anything except petty. She is 100% petty, and that is Twisted Mind's plan. If the dive comes through, it's going to take them so long that Yubi on this Mei and KSA on the Jungle Queen can literally just play distraction tactic on the payload and stop it from moving. As Quartz actually goes on to the Cassidy with the Burdenade to try and just slow down these dives that come out from either W Maimon or Chase Torch.
KSA walks out. Suzu used this, at least peel off that pulse, but Kanale, nice shot from him with the kunai, has been so good. Now the nano boost engage comes through from Chase Torch to find Kelix. Twisted Minds don't have any more ultimates here, so, you know, KSA, they could use their ultimate as well. They actually do use it, but the Suzu immediately cleanses it off. KSA at least just wanted to sustain, but the Suzu used here. Kitsune rush from Kanale as well to just kind of capitalize on Twisted Minds without any ultimates or any cooldowns to keep themselves up. Chase Torch finds those two kills. W Mimo there on the low ground too. I mean, so far this has been smooth sailing for EXO.
Okay, Twisted Minds now going to be changing a couple of things up. Yubi still got the Blizzard. Quartz not actually going onto the Reaper to directly counter Chase Torch. As W Maimon onto the Echo, still no Mercy pocket. That is going to be something that you have to worry about considering there is a ceiling, but there's no conventional hit scan on the side of Twisted Minds, given that Slay, off of the Baptiste, actually decided for the Moira.
Right, interesting to make that swap, just going for that full brawl this time around. Sky comes through this right side, dies for it actually, just to that passive orb from Slay. Quartz also there to find W Maimon. Yubi was there for them to find that kill earlier on, but now EXO have to back up. 2 minutes and 30 seconds now in third base.
So this is actually a really underrated spot for Moiras to be able to hold because those damage orbs are going to do significant work. They're going to bounce off all of those close cramped up spaces and just chunk through EXO's resources before the dive can properly come through, and that's what this composition is all about. Finding a play of resources low and then pushing on them for the kill.
Primal Rage used there by Chase Torch. Now Quartz drops through the main. They get slept. Oh my god, what a sleep dart from Sky. Mamone will find him too. Yubi has to commit to Blizzard now on Chase Torch after knowing he doesn't have any cooldowns, but does he have the follow-up? Yes, he does, via the Coalescence of Slay, but eventually the Coalescence will run out. Chase Torch can come back. W Mamone came back on the copy as well via that Echo. Building towards that annihilation of the copy form. Cannot build it in time though. Nano Boost committed now on W Maimon. He goes over the top, but the Reaper is still pressuring him. KSA also there. Means that he loses his life in the Nano Boost form. Sky also gets found by Quartz on the left side, and so far, this brawl composition is working out to a T for Twisted Mind.
Don't know if I'm okay with the sound barrier investment coming through from Kelix, especially given that Cookie is going to be coming into this next fight with EMP, and that's going to be something that Twisted Minds have to worry about because Quartz does have zoning with Death Blossom, but the Reaper ultimate can be cancelled with the Sombra, especially if 4 of them get hit by Cookie's ult.
Oh my god, what an EMP They have to use the Annihilation to try to equalize it, but he gets slept, immediately woken up by Chase Torch. Kitsune Rush eventually run out for Kanail as well, so Ultimate's committed for EXO. They did get that first kill, but they're not able to find any more just yet. Eventually, they'll get Yubi or Quartz back. He's able to find one. Drops Death Blossom onto Sky. Make that a 3K for him, but WM1 has found 2. Coming back into this, he's trying to find more, but he cannot. Back to the spawn doors he goes with 42 seconds left.
Yeah, that Death Blossom blocked the space for Yubi to be able to anchor himself onto that point with the Ice Block in case he gets contested by WMaimon. As EXO so close to so many ultimates, but Slay and Yubi so close to the zoning potential of the Blizzard, and there's nothing that EXO really have to be able to counter it.
Sitting over the top, shield being pressured by on the Chase Torch. Still sticking with this very similar composition. They come through on that backside. This time did not take any poke, so they're able to get that surround off, but Yubi just playing around the card. I mean, his only objective is to drop the Blizzard towards, you know, really this mass clump of Ex-Oblivione, but Chase Torch is able to find KSA. Slayer with the Coalescence does find Sky on the back. You know, the rest of Ex-Oblivione have to force around this payload. Blizzard committed by Yubi to try to find the freeze, but WMaimon did get the copy before he got frozen as well, and Chase Torch just kind of disrupts the side of Twisted Minds, pushes them around. Kitsune Rush committed here as well. Beat drop to try to counter it with this EMP onto Cookie's side with the Netta Boost. He's able to find Quartz. Quartz found one, but KSA comes back and finds Kanail. Meanwhile, Sky just has to sit back, but nobody's there to touch either because Twisted Minds zoned everybody else off. Ex-Oblivione gets stopped in third phase.
Oh, I mean, that swap onto the Mei for point C, it's just so punishing. Every single time EXO try and make a move, they have to be concerned about the Mei or isolating them. Every single time Chase Torch is trying to just face tank for Sky to be able to build up towards the Nano. Even when he gets caught in the Blizzard, you see Yubi actually wall the Winston, not just to stop the potential jump to come through from the Winston to be able to avoid it, but to stop line of sight from Sky, who was 96% or above towards the Nano Boost and would have been able to use it to keep Chase Torch alive after the Blizzard had worn off. Really clutch utility cycling coming through from the Mei player.
I mean, meanwhile, for Ex-Oblivione's side, I mean, they just got held for basically, was it like nearly 3 minutes on third phase, and they didn't really make any major composition swaps. I mean, like, what do you think about running that dive on third point route? It felt like it kind of fell off.
Yeah, it's always really risky. Like, you want to potentially try and pincer, and you did see that they did attempt that pincer so that they could try and set up and catch that backline, look for that potential hack from Cookie to be able to just stop Slay's Coalescence in its tracks, but unfortunately that just ate into the time bank overall, and Twisted Minds just channeled and cycled their ultimates really resourcefully so that they always had something laid out for them, whether it was a Blizzard, whether it was a Death Blossom, even the Sound Barrier from Calyx. Now, however, we're going to see EXO on the defense, Cookie onto that Hanzo to try and find those one-shot potentials, taking advantage of the same line of sight that Hits can find, but being a little bit more mobile and harder to be able to collapse upon, so you have a little bit more self-sustainability by depleting into resources that are needed for Chase Torch to live.
All right, see if Twisted Minds... Oh my Cookie! Goodbye. Slay going back to the spawn. Calyx does get the res though, so actually remains in this fight, but WMaimon with the pressure, able to find Quartz with a pocket. Of Quartz went for that resurrect, and now Twisted Minds back up.
Yeah, this is the punishment, right? When you're able to find a one-shot with that hands up before a fight begins, not only do you push the res off cooldown, you pull the Mercy out of position to find the resurrection, and that's when you go for another play when you know the pocket isn't there. EXO gonna have to be relying on the exact same thing, however, as Yubi goes down early.
Ooh. Kanail. I mean, he's been so clean with these kunai and on the Kuriko so far. The sleep dart also came through from Sky. Chase Torch tried to follow up, but it's hit by a Suzu on Slay's side. So Ex-Oblivione back up, but they lose Chase Torch. No way.
A little bit too over-aggressive there from Chase Torch. However, Cookie is able to find the trade onto Quartz, but lacking that tank now significantly eats into the ultimate charge available for Sky. Pretty close to the Nano, but now losing Cookie. You just have to try and concede and give this up. Kanail, being the only one to really try and have that point of contact, will be able to use that swift step to be able to back up if he gets challenged. As Chase Torch is just trying to distract right now, but oh no, Kanail used the swift step to teleport onto the Winston.
It was a nice nade from Sky there to get Chase Torch that kill as well, knowing they were down 1. Cookie has to still come back from the spawn. WMAMON also has the copy here ready to go. Twisted Minds sitting with the Valkyrie and some more ultimates being built up, but they actually find Kaneo, who went aggressive on an off angle with just a random kunai or default kunai from Slay. Meanwhile, nade comes through. WMAMON with the copy onto the Junker Queen as well, just to find some pressure here, maybe build up that rampage as well. Going back to the cart though is Yubi, trying to sneak things through underneath Exo's noses, but Kitsune Rush pop from Slay. So the fight is happening towards the payload, but a counter Kitsune Rush happens. Bob here as well to zone out, does get slept. Dragon Strike connects towards that payload, but to zone, nobody else is here to touch on Exo's side. KSA and Yubi find Chase Torch and Kaneo, and then we'll move on to second.
Yeah, Dragon Strike, like you said, splits the team off of the Kitsune Rush, but Twisted Minds are still capping that cart because nobody from EXO is physically touching it and keeping it from motion, as Twisted Minds now with a rampage have the means of trying to win this next fight. If they can force EXO off of the high ground onto the low, then KSA is probably going to be able to collapse in, but EXO coming into this with a Nano and Primal already built up have so much aggression for this next dive.
Yubi going around the left, ready to kind of just counter any flank angle taken by WMAMON, but he just goes to the main. Quartz gets dove on. Coach Gun to force Chase Torch away for now. Pops the Primal first. Now coming on the bottom right is Quartz, but it gets removed by Sky with a nice body shot and the follow-up there. Chase Torch also finds another. Kaneo finds Slay, so Twisted Minds will be heading back to the spawn doors in second phase.
And this is huge for EXO because not only have they once again locked up that high ground control for Cookie, they were able to do it off of the back of only the Primal and the attention that it grabbed. Sky still gets to hold on to the Nano Boost and have it to enable Chase Torch or even potentially Cookie to go a little bit more aggressive, as Twisted Minds now fully on to the dive counter. So they once again back onto the more of a self-sustainability when the dive comes through. UV onto the mate, try and slow things down from Chase Torch's side.
Nano Boost into that, force that Reaper fade from Quartz's side. Twisted Minds will get picked off after that. 2 WMAMON, knowing the cooldown is not there for Quartz, will drop the pulse bomb in. Without that Reaper, I mean, that's a lot of damage gone for Twisted Minds. They do have KSA at the very least. For Matra is also a large part of the damage in these brawl compositions. They're just going to stay on the inside, though, wait for Quartz to come back and just play this slow while pushing the cart.
Yeah, but Quartz is essentially going to have to use either TP or Rayform to be able to make it back to the rest of the team. Now, finally, they're going to be out of gas station, but again, here comes the cleave, and no one can collapse onto the Ana because everyone is too focused on the dive going down around them.
I mean, this comp is definitely a lot better in the third phase, but in second, I mean, with all this high ground space, it's hard to find any kills. Coalescence from Slay is here. Eventually, the TP comes through. They're able to find Kaneo over the top of WMAMON. Great job to find Kelix after knowing that Moira had to play aggressive. Slay's able to find 2 on an aggressive Moira play, but eventually Cookie will find him. Now just has to back up. Yubi will find Cookie.
Primal.
KSA's still here on the cart too. The Primal's still going ham, but eventually Ice Block to stop the Primal from finding any more value. Eventually, they'll have to come back. Chase Torch needs to find a kill here or just back up, and he's just going to back up for now. A minute left. Twisted Minds have regrouped.
But the Primal stalls. It keeps the payload in position long enough for Cookie to be able to respawn with the Bob. So even though Twisted Minds have better ultimate economy, EXO still have the means of contesting the car.
Beat drop committed from Kelix. Slay knowing that doesn't have to fade. Now will have to. But eventually gets fouled by WMAMON, who is so patient with that Kitsune Rush as well. Kelix still able to find 1. Annihilation is there from KSA to try to zone. And they do kill Chase Torch before the Nanomist can even be used on him. Sky will also fall. And the rest of Twisted Mind just regroup on this payload. Just X-Oblivion has collapsed around them for basically free. So they're moving on to third with 2 minutes, and we're getting a pause.
We're getting a pause. We're also getting Cookie swapping onto the Hanzo because, Dustin, there's panic going in the comms of EXO at the moment because they just used all of the ultimates bar the Nano that they had available, and Twisted Minds are still sitting on Death Blossom and Blizzard, 2 massive zoning ultimates, and they're heading into Final Fight territory. EXO, when they regroup, by the time they're actually properly able to field all 5 players together once again, that payload is going to be inches away from the checkpoint, and Twisted Minds inches away from taking us 1 map up.
Oh my god, I mean, like, obviously, Twisted Minds now in third phase. This has to favor them, right? Moxie, this Brawl Ramatra composition. And meanwhile, you'd think in that Streets phase, EXO could have done something, but, you know, Slay going aggressive with that Coalescence kind of opened things up for them, right? I mean, it just felt like Twisted Minds were kind of on the back foot until that point.
Yeah, you don't really have a way of being able to peel the Coalescence. You don't have a Sombra, so you can't hack it out early. It goes through the Winston bubble, so it's really about positioning and just forcing the Kiriko into using those resources, but Twisted Minds were able to just collapse upon Knil wherever he went, as now we're going to see Final Fight territory come through. Quartz just trying to put himself in a spot where he's not going to be found out, will be spotted, but that's still denying one off angle for Mimon to control.
Yeah, early Blizzard, but it is avoided around the corner. Nail's able to find Slay, but it does cost him his life. Meanwhile, Chase with the Nano comes around the back. The Sleep Dart came through onto Quartz to slow him down, and also for a Cookie to find that kill. Cookie will end up with 2 in that fight. And with 1 meter and 47 to go, we have a minute left in third phase.
They give up the Death Blossom. Chase Torch onto that Ramatra now is just too problematic. The Annihilation's going to be available in this next fight. Slay now going onto that Baptiste with the Immortality Field to try and cheat the ultimate economy as Quartz with the headshot takes Knil down. This is all going wrong for EXO.
I mean, there's just no way coming back into this. Quartz then it goes aggressive on a Cookie, knowing he has to look towards that payload, and nobody else is here. Quartz will end up with a 3 or 4K in that fight. Twisted Minds will win on Route 66.
Fear not the Death Blossom, fear the Hanzo in the neutral that can come in with 3 back-to-back headshot one-shots. Oh my goodness, yeah, it is. It's literally this fight.
Jesus.
Absolutely melts through that Ramatra. Yubi's the one that picks up the kill, but oh my goodness, that flick onto Cookie's head as well. It's just an absolute stunner, and that's what you have to be so frightened of, right? Even though the Reaper does really well in the ball composition, Twisted Mind see that Cookie had flexed towards the Hanzo and was trying to play off of not just the one-shot potential, but the danger and hesitation that then focuses you into being in terms of your positioning and pacing. And they decide that they can't allow EXO to have that massive level of control into how long the next fight spans out. They have to mirror into it, and it works out into their favor perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, man, I feel for Knil there, because, I mean, obviously he was the opening pick. I don't know. Hanzo is such a ridiculous hero, man. I just, like, hate Hanzo, honestly, personally.
That was 76% ultimate charge, by the way, generated in 1 fight.
That character, Moxie, that dude just, like, just with the left click, I mean, just found the opening kill. It was the chuck the log across the map. I mean, I guess, like, Kiriko has that availability, too. I mean, every kind of... I mean, it was every kind of hero, or every, role besides what tank has, like, a potential for, like, a lot of burst damage. You know, you got Zenyatta, you got Kiriko, you have Hanzo, you have Widowmaker on DPSs. Like, I guess tanks don't really have that.
Except Roadhog.
Yeah, except Roadhog, you're right. Except Roadhog. And then also... I guess if you think about it with all of the, like, with, like, Wrecking Ball Slam and has the follow-up with Doomfist too, maybe, like, those characters. But, you know, obviously, what's going to win? 1 Kunai or 1 Hanzo log from across the map? It seems like the Hanzo in this case. Meanwhile, it seems like the next map we're going to is going to be Esperanza for the side of Exoblivione. This is the map they think they'll have an edge over Twisted Minds.
I mean, this honestly is Twisted Mind's strongest push map, though. Again, like, we did see that EXO were able to take Numbani, which was arguably one of Twisted Mind's strongest maps too, because they were able to fend towards the echo composition. But this is where we see hit scam pop off. So if Quartz does decide to pick up the mantle of the Cassidy once again, I am just a little bit worried that EXO aren't ready to be able to deal with it, going off of how they reacted to it on that first control map.
Well, let's see if it actually pans out for them. Meanwhile, Exoblivione, we'll see if they make any subs, Moxie. I don't think that... do you think we'll see any subs here coming onto this next map, or are they feeling good about that Chase Torch, Canale combo?
I mean, we have seen that you can find value with Ramatra on this map if you have a Maywall and you're able to just parkour your way up onto the high ground bridge. But more than likely, we're going to see Chase Torch remain unless we do see that swap come through of Labda, which would then herald the swap to Vistola. Not for the Ramatra, but more than likely to deal with the Diva. But I think it's pretty set in stone with what these teams are more comfortable with. I don't think we're going to see substitutions come through.
Okay, well, yeah, probably not, I guess. It's been a tough... I mean, that last map was definitely better than the first map on Control on Oasis for the likes of Chase Torch. But, you know, leading this next map, they got to feel good because Root was at least somewhat close. I think towards the end, they just had a few things not go their way. What do you think went wrong for EXO on Route 66? Because obviously, I feel like they were in control for a majority of their attack and even somewhat on defense.
Yeah, so honestly, for them, it wasn't even really ultimate economy because we did see that there was just an immediate give up of the Death Blossom. The Blizzard had already been used and been able to be navigated through thanks to just the sustain that Ramatra has. And honestly, it was Storm Arrows. It wasn't the free headshots that we saw come through from the Hanzo. It was the Storm Arrows and how quickly it melted your Ramatra because you were so close to annihilation, so close to being able to push Twisted Minds back, but the Ramatra just evaporated. And since Nano had already been used in the fight prior to that, they didn't have the means of keeping that Ramatra alive until annihilation was ready. And you could see the target focus from Twisted Minds. The ultimate, like, calling the IG-Ling is so on point with this team, where they just zero focus down anyone who is too close to a win condition.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fantastic work from the side of Twisted Minds. Obviously, you know, if they can close out here, they'll keep that, you know, at maximum one map lost. Meanwhile, for EXO, I mean, I'm sure that's at least some sort of, you know, consolation prize. If they can win on this one, bring Twisted Minds to the map 5, not only will it put that pressure on them, but also in the summer series so far, that'll be the team that has pushed Twisted Minds the farthest when, you know, we are kind of, I would say, at the moment in this kind of Twisted Minds era, right?
It does feel like EU just go through different eras of super teams, right? We had EXO, we had Twisted Minds back in the day, we had the good old Hurricane. It very much does feel like there is just one team that always seems to just have a better grasp of the meta, and I cannot wait to see if we do see teams start to move on to different patches coming through in terms of contenders later on in the year, how we're going to see these different teams adapt into potential new metas, given that Soldier and Orisa and Sojourn both recently got some pretty hefty buffs that can really eat into a lot of this Pharah Echo environment that we've seen.
Twisted Minds sticking with Quartz on that Cass as well. Meanwhile, Yubi goes for that swap on a Tracer after it looked like a teleport out of spawn. Looking to regroup in the main side. Have that Brigitte with the Kariko. Meanwhile, EXO rocking with that Kariko Ana yet again. And have Cookie on the Ashe to follow up on the Maymon's Tracer.
Quartz and Cookie going to be going toe-to-toe, but Cookie has a little bit of advantage in terms of positioning. As you can see, Quartz is stuck on the low ground without something like a coach gun to be able to elevate himself to a better position, but with that burden, it just makes it so much harder for a dive to come through onto him.
KSA locking down the robot for now, already getting up to 6 meters. Eventually, Chase Torch still sitting on this backside. His bubble gets removed, but in that duel on the right side, he's kind of able to win the duel with W Maimon there. Meanwhile, on the front line, Twisted Minds and KSA, rather, is just trying to continue to give space to Quartz to find the shot on the back of Sky, who just peeked his head for a second, and that was a second too long. Ex-Oblivione now down a man, have to back up, but they're going into the crossfire of, again, Twisted Minds and Quartz in particular.
Yeah, this is where it's going to get potentially domino effect. Ex-Oblivione, because now losing that first fight, they've lost control of the high ground for Cookie. Quartz has the time to be able to waltz up those steps, have the high ground, have that burden aid as well to be able to spam towards any dive that potentially comes through onto him, while still having the better vantage point to keep Cookie in check.
Pulse Bomb used from Yubi, no kill, but at least zones them off for now. Meanwhile, KSA comes back, nice dynamite connection onto Quartz and Kelix there, but they've built up that Kitsune Rush, so they'll use it here to stop the robot for now. EXO still don't have any ultimates now, built up the Nano Boost, so they could go for a re-engage, but they're waiting intelligently for this Kitsune Rush to burn out. Cookie finds that kill onto Quartz with the Nano Boost of the Chase Torch with the follow-up now. Nobody was there to save Quartz, unfortunately, just far too much damage. The rally not even enough to save him now. They look to push towards that cart. Kelix able to find W Maimon, though, with the bash and the flail, but Chase Torch eventually will find Kelix. Kaneo also onto KSA. They've slowly whittled down Twisted Minds, and, 29 meters is not that much space to lose out on as they control the robot.
Yeah, really good dynamite opening from Cookie as well, so that Chase Torch is able to land on the Cassidy when he's low and find the kill as quickly as needed. Yubi actually going on to the Mei. So now we're going to be seeing these walls come through again, playing havoc into line of sight. There's the dynamite. Oh, such a good replay. Cookie just angling to take the Cassidy down. Now is in full control of this high ground line of sight with the dynamite. Sends the Bob down so he doesn't get intercepted off of the vantage point too. But a really good Mei will actually come through from Yubi to be able to mitigate a lot of that damage.
We'll see if Twisted Minds have a good backup plan. Looking like they just rotate back into the main side. Chase Torch did use the primal there to no avail. Rampage comes through from KSA, does hit 3, and eventually with the axe as well finds Sky. He's not able to run away from it. Meanwhile, EXO now desperately trying to evade Twisted Minds' damage, but there's far too much after the switch Calyx over to Lucio.
That lovely rampage from KSA to just clear everyone on EXO's side off of the high ground, so they don't have to worry about bulldozing through all of those dynamite cooldowns from Cookie. As now, once again, we reset ourselves into the position of Quartz being untouchable on the high ground, now with the added bodyguard of Calyx on the Lucio. So no Brigida flail, but still a knock to make sure that they're not able to find the dive onto the cast.
They're about to take the checkpoint here as well. Last second, they do get that touch through, but the coalescence from Slay is here. I mean, they do have the nano at the very least, but no anti-grenades have been hit. Chase Torch is trying to body block, make sure they don't push it in. The anti was there. Cookie will burn out KSA. Perfect nade from Sky to open things as well. Pulse bomb committed from W. Maymone. Blizzard here towards the cart. They have to jump away from now, giving Twisted Minds that checkpoint. But Ex-Oblivion still have that man advantage for now. They're trying to capitalize off and get these follow-up kills before KSA comes back. Twisted Minds still alive, though. I mean, they're still relatively healthy here. Eventually, they'll get KSA back. Yubi's able to find Kaneo. Chase Torch, they do have this robot and kind of play around it, but they've lost Kaneo already. Now just trying to get as much space as they can between Twisted Minds and themselves.
How is Quartz not dead? His health fell so low multiple times, but just bounced right back up to full. And as a result, EXO yet again have to oust the Cassidy from this high ground position. Otherwise, this Deadeye is going to be absolutely brutal. The dynamite just doesn't allow them to probably be able to dive through because KSA comes from with the peel.
I mean, Quartz just don't miss. Pops to the high noon as well. Looking on the Sky on the left side. Will find him with the high noon play and the beat drop as well. Kaneo tries the swift step away. Will keep his life. Cookie over the top finds Quartz. Chase Torch also the Primal Rage. Able to find Calyx, and Cookie with that space finds a nice 2K there. KSA just looks to delay a bit longer as EXO controlled the robot again.
EXO going to have access to the nano boost in this next fight as well, but you have to be so careful. The Winston's becoming a problem that it's just too easy to be able to just pounce on the Cassidy with Cookie aiding at the beginning with these dynamites and goes for the direct counter. He goes on towards the Reaper. So even if there's a nano boosted Winston in your face, you can still hold your ground with the self-sustain and heal that the DPS hero has.
Ex-Oblivion gotta keep Sky and Cookie alive at the moment. Those are the two biggest members, especially Sky, because he doesn't have any, mobility cooldowns. Twisted Minds looking to go for an early play, but Chase Torch with the nano boost able to find Quartz through the coalescence and then on display as well. So the robot was controlled by Calyx. However, his team is removed. That was a great nano engage there from EXO.
And it splits Twisted Minds in half, and as a result, Yubi doesn't manage to find the store potential, nor does Slay be able to find any sort of value with the coalescence because all of the targets that he could have used the ultimate to keep sustained up and countering things like the Winston were taken down before the Moira ultimate could reach them. Brilliant target focus from EXO as now yet again high ground falls into a different team's favor as W Maymon's creeping, trying to just bait out utility so that Cookie's dynamites can have an extra bite.
And they just gotta get maximum value. Find KSA here, but switches over forms to make sure he gets that damage reduction and armor. Meanwhile, Blizzard committed on the high ground, connects onto Cookie, but the wall here zones him off for now. Quartz able to find Chase Torch on the low ground. Robot still under control. Annihilation here onto Cookie. Slows him down for now, but a nice sleep dart from Sky to back up. They commit to Bob, knowing that they have that advantage, but they still lose Kaneo, and in the meanwhile, the backline, they're not able to find Slay. He's evading all of the damage from both Cookie and W Mamo, and so Cookie's just coming over to build some ultimate charge, get that delay. Unfortunately, the Bob didn't work out for them, and Twisted Minds, with the advantage, still have control of that robot.
They're going to have Death Blossom as well as 2 support ultimates into this next fight available for Twisted Minds. And now they're also going to have those earlier, faster respawns as Cookie off of the Reaper goes for the Sombra to just be able to directly hack out these 2 ults.
EXO sitting on the top up to about 69 meters for Twisted Minds. Anti-connects onto KSA. Coalescence here as well after the anti runs away. So it's a Coalescence for Kitsune Rush play 4 now. Twisted Mind still sitting with the Death Blossom. I mean, as long as EXO has to rotate around this robot, they know, Twisted Minds knows that they have the advantage. Quartz gets hacked, though, and then eventually killed. Nice hack from Cookie. W Mamo there with the follow-up, and then the Primal Rage is here from Chase Torch. Beat drop committed from Calyx. Even though they're down Quartz, they want to still win this. KSA got slept on the low ground as well. EXO trying to continue their advantage. Will pop the Nano Boost on the Chase Torch so he can go aggressive. Eventually, Calyx does have the support. Back with Death Healing here. Yubi found Cookie. This is horrible for Exoblivion, as Twisted Minds still have control of that robot.
Yubi got hacked, and that meant the hack was on cooldown, so Quartz goes for the Death Blossom knowing that Cookie can't cancel it early, and as a result, everyone gets swept away in the fray. As Quartz has done so much damage in this match. Yubi sitting on the Blizzard as well off of the back of that sustainability is going to make it so hard for a dive to find a target.
Nice hack, at least there from Cookie. Anti-grenade to follow up with it as well. Eventually, Sky will find Calyx too, so that is 2 members now, 3 of Twisted Mind gone, but I mean, they have 94 meters, Moxie. It's almost 50 meters they have to close out on here to get the win today.
Okay, so it is doable, right? Yubi with the Blizzard, it's a projectile. You have to throw it on the ground. You can catch it and cancel it with either a Sombra hack or EMP. The same can happen for the Coalescence, but you have to remember as well, if you use the EMP early to initiate into this next fight, you don't have it to counteract the sustain of Calyx's Sound Barrier. This is a gamble that EXO have to make. Do they go proactive or do they play reactive?
They go proactive in this fight. They use the Nano Boost, or sorry, EMP like you said. Able to find that opening kill. That's 1. Overtime now ticking down. Quartz will drop through out of the Wraith form. Eventually will get found. Surely this will be a fight win for EXO, and it is.
Okay, and now EXO off of the back of that EMP have bought themselves a much larger window. They're going to have Nano Boost, they're going to have Kitsune Rush, they can play a lot more proactive if they choose to. Twisted Minds still having to wait a little bit. Yes, they have Coalescence, yes, they have Blizzard 2 zoning tools, but ideally you want the Annihilation when you know this guy's already expended the Nano Boost.
Moan comes in the bottom right. We're going to have to get a big full swim out of him. Early ice block committed from Yubi away from the cart too, so he's not necessarily close to use that Blizzard. Oh my god, gets poked down to 1 HP. Drops the Blizzard Annihilation here. Coalescence too. Yubi finds Maimon. Chase Torch gets the Nano at least to sit on this robot for a bit longer. Also has that damage output, so they're able to find Calyx. Cookie gets poked down by the Annihilation. KSA wants to keep it going, so as long as he's pressuring out the backline, he should be fine. But a nice sleep dart from Sky is there. Chase Torch still trying to touch. Eventually will cost him his life. Death Blossom committed by Quartz, and nobody else here for EXO. Twisted Minds will stop the dream today and win 3-1 over EXO.
It's close. It's a lot closer, I'm sure, than a lot of people were anticipating. That last push almost working out for EXO. However, when you're running Winston, Tracer, Sombra, and you're lacking any one of those players, Dustin, trying to actually just lock down a kill, especially in the face of things like Soundbar and Coalescence, just make it so hard to actually be able to confirm any one of those hits into a player absence on the other side. And when you start losing players and forcing yourself into using Chase Torch's bubble just to try and shield dance around all of that poke coming through from Quartz with the Hellfire shotguns, when you're forced that close and you can't jump away as a Winston player, you lose the amount of time to be able to use it to buy yourself space, and it just becomes KSA using Nemesis form to pummel through the shield block.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally on the mark here. It just feels like this, Winston dive composition is, just has a bit too much variability for, a lot of these European teams. It's tough to make it work versus the likes of Twisted Minds, who Like you said, they could just consistently play this Ramatra comp to a very high level with KSA. And, you know, obviously Twisted Minds, Moxie, it seems like they're just keeping up their reign. You know, obviously only dropping a map so far, like you said earlier, 2 Raspberry Racers and now 2 EXO. They are really strong at the moment.
And we're seeing serious variations as well from their composition. We got to see the Moira come through. They actually saw that the Winston was being a little bit too problematic for their taste, and so we saw that swap onto the Reaper, and it worked really successfully. Because again, it meant that that win condition of the dive being there and creating space, being that distraction that forces the entire front line to have to peel for the backline, all of that worry just goes up in smoke, and every single other person on your team literally just gets so much stress lifted off of their shoulders. And unfortunately, on the other side, you just get even more piled on, because the Winston, that one thing that you should always be getting use from in terms of dives and bubbles into this composition, is just not that lifeline that your backline needs to be able to build the ultimates up. Yes, you're going to be able to supercharge nanos, but it doesn't matter if even with the Winston nanoed, you still go down to the zoning capability of the team opposite.
Well, guys, we have one more game for you today, but before then, we have an interview with KSA from Exoblivione. We'll have to pick his brains, figure out what's going on in that team environment for the likes of Twisted Minds if they've been undefeated so far. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with KSA.
Oh, hello, Fancy Mini You here. It's so nice to see ya. Are you ready to survive the wastelands? Then you'll need to bring your shotgun, your axe, and of course, your knife for your sharp wit. If you get my drift. Hey, whoa. Hold on there. Don't forget to pick up your Overwatch Contenders Junker Queen skin. Yeah, gearing up is as easy as connecting your Battle.net account to Twitch. And after that, watching the Overwatch Contenders Summer Series will contribute to your drop progression, letting you claim your own wasteland-ready Overwatch Contenders Junker Queen skin. Oh, that's right. It's time to rampage. Now, get out there and slay with the Overwatch Contenders Junker Queen skin. Okay, take care now. See you in chat.
Welcome back, everybody. Obviously, Twisted Minds win that series 3-1. EXO, probably their toughest challenge yet. However, Twisted Minds still look like a very, very good team. So we brought in KSA, obviously one of the victors from the side of Twisted Minds. What's up, KSA? How you feeling after the win, man?
Feeling pretty good.
So, first of all, we have to ask, because we so rarely get the chance to actually sit down with you and talk about things like tank meta. In your opinion, why does the Junker Queen work so well against a Winston composition when every other team, it feels like, is trying to just run this dive as often as possible?
Well, Junker Queen is like, it's like more of a hero for me, you know. I'm not like known for my like Winston, and just it's like the best next hero after like Winston. It's just a counter comp to the Monkey Comp. And since I'm just better at quiz, so I just decided like I'm just gonna play counter comp to the Winston comp.
I mean, it obviously worked out for you guys, and you know, for the likes of of your team, Twisted Minds, do you feel like you guys have been sort of gelling together even more so as the season's gone on? Because obviously, you guys made some roster changes coming into this season with some new talent. I mean, getting towards that end, you guys are still undefeated. Do you feel like you guys are only getting better at the moment? Yeah,
it feels like things are starting to become a lot like, how can I say it? It's just a bit like everything comes like normal. Like everyone knows what to do. Like I don't even need to say where I need to kite anymore, because like, yeah, we've just
they just know
for so long. Yeah, we know everything legit.
So speaking of kiting then, I know Dustin and I, when we saw that first map of University, we were pretty surprised when EXO didn't actually run the Lucio alongside the Ramatra, nor even a Mei. Was this something that you expected to see coming out from them?
Oh yeah, they played against us in scrims, so that's what we expected. That's what we planned against, because they're never gonna win the Ramatra, and then now they realized it, so they tried playing different comps, like the Ramatra with Lucio, I mean.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. So they've decided, like, obviously playing against you guys, it's been so hard for them to take that mirror. In moving forward, obviously Numbani was a bit of an interesting one. Can you run us back on like what went wrong maybe on Numbani for you guys? I mean, it was so close regardless.
Oh yeah, Numbani on attack was like hard, but it was fine. But on defense, we just messed up quite a lot from the swap to break. We just didn't respond correctly. All the wrong positions, like troll a little bit of ults here and there. It's just messed up defense. And our attack actually, I'm not sure if it got caught on the broadcast, probably not, but like, Yubi was gonna touch, but he got stopped by a fence railing before he could touch. So
oh no!
He got stopped by a fence railing?
Yeah, it was kind of unlucky. So
that's why you always break the fences.
Yes.
Yeah, doesn't it? It stays too if you get on the defensive side. Now you guys know, man. Just this is the sort of high level stuff that Twisted Minds is doing now, because you guys are winning so hard that like we actually just have to start breaking the entire map instead of spending it like doing anything useful.
That's for sure.
So then, speaking of winning so hard, obviously you are now going to be wrapping up your group stages, or at least towards the tail end of them. You've only dropped one map against EXO today, but also against Raspberry Racers. Looking towards playoffs, is there a specific team that you're more concerned about than others, or do you think it's just going to be another day in the park for the team?
Honestly, I think EXO still. I think they have a lot of higher chance to improve, like during the playoffs. So still a team I have to look out for it, but it shouldn't be a problem. Next time it's going to be just a quick 3-0 or a 4-0 if they make it to grand finals.
Oh my god! All right, that's a lot of. I mean, obviously, well-deserved confidence. And for you guys, KSA, obviously, for you on specifically on the Ramatra, I'm really curious your take on this, because I feel like, obviously in that brawl composition, the Ramatra is like a lot of the damage, but it seems like overall the Ramatra players aren't really, I guess, focused on. Maybe it's because it's a known or it's consistent damage. I want to get your take maybe on it, like why, we as a public don't really get to see, all you do on Ramatra, especially that damage output.
I mean, on Ramatra at the start, it started out with like when you go into Nemesis, you start punching people. Then you slowly realize that punching is bad, and because every time you punch, you lose 400 HP. And then you realize how broken block is, and then you just hold the block, and there's 5 people looking at you. So you just hold the block and you win the game.
It's just not worth it to ever punch, basically. So you're just always using
most of the time, yeah. Most of the time, I'd say.
Okay.
Because you have 5 people. You have 5 people looking at you. You don't need to do anything. You already like have the whole map.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. That's interesting. And You know, and for you guys in particular, obviously, when we go back to maybe the Junker Queen composition, why is it that you don't even want to play like Junker Queen with a Lucio really anymore? Because obviously you guys played it with, you know, at times a Mercy, and I think even a Brigitte. Like I remember before when, you know, Junker Queen was more of the brawl character. Now that's kind of Ramatra. Like, why do you think Junker Queen doesn't really need the speed boost anymore, I guess?
Like, the reason we didn't want to play Lucio because we're just playing bait. We're never playing to push them with like speed. We're really just playing hard counter because their comp is just better than us. You know, we can't really push them. They have the better comp, so we're just literally countering every single dive. That's why like there's no reason for Lucio. Brig and Mercy are just better.
Yeah, that makes sense then. So you actually think that the dive with the Winston in that comp is,
if we like play Lucio and push them, we'll 100% lose. They have nades, they have everything. We can't do anything.
So you actually think that's like the better comp though, like overall compared to your guys's, or you think that the counter comp could actually just end up being the best comp, or do you think it's just your playstyle?
I think we have the players for it, and I think I still think their comp is better, but our players are just better. So
that makes sense. It's like a very, you know, you need to have really high level players to rock the Winston composition. Well, you know, thank you KSA for coming through for the interviews. Anything last you want to say before we let you go today?
Yubi's the GOAT. That's it, I think.
Shouting out the teammate. Love that. Well, plus synergy for you guys. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming by.
See ya.
That's KSA from the likes of Twisted Minds. I keep wanting to call him on EXO because obviously he played on that dominant team. I didn't realize KSA has been a freaking dominant player for basically like 2 years now in EMEA. I'm sure he's been getting looks, but what a series between Twisted Minds and Ex Oblivione. And we have one more incredible series for everybody today. We have Aw Yeah versus SR Peak Check coming up.
You like solving problems. Problems like how to stop that tracer from deleting your backline. I know just what you're thinking. You'll bring a turret. But y'all can't solve all your problems by simply bringing an extra friend to the battlefield. For that, you need the Contenders Torbjorn skin. Solve your problems by connecting your Battle.net account to Twitch. After that, watching Overwatch Contenders Summer Series will contribute to your drops progress, letting you claim your Overwatch Contenders Torbjorn skin. Even your turret gets an upgrade. Warning, the Overwatch Contenders Torbjorn skin does not come with extra or upgraded turrets. Build instructions will not be provided. By picking Torbjorn, you waive a claim towards any destroyed turrets. No refunds, no exchanges, and no take-backsies.
These players strive to become who they're truly meant to be.
No more break, it's time for action. Welcome to Overwatch Contenders.
Welcome back, everybody, to European Contenders, and you're back with myself, Dustin, joined by Moxie today. Last game we just had was a very, very fun one. Obviously, Twisted Minds still showing they're the best team in EMEA at the moment, but both Aw Yeah and SR Peak Check are not too far behind, and that's our next series, Moxie.
Oh, this is going to be a fun one, Dustin, because both of these two teams have incredibly distinct identities that they've established all the way through this Summit season. And oh yeah, again, doing incredibly well in this new meta. Last time we saw them in groups, they were 2nd seed. They're still doing incredibly well at the moment, coming in at 4th seed at the moment. SRPeakCheck, on the other hand, they've been dividing a couple of opinions of players that we've talked to, because this Reinhardt Symmetra composition that they fielded before is apparently pretty frustrating to play into. But I mean, you want frustrating? Look no further than this team right here. This is going to be chaos meets chaos. And I mean, when chaos gets squared in a lobby, you know shenanigans are about to go down.
Oh yeah, I mean, coming up, Aya's lineup running with Chasm, typically on the Wrecking Ball, and meanwhile Kaya has been a fantastic Junkrat player, and then love Hot Babe and Cool Boy back as that support duo that you love, Moxie, and they're looking to beat the team that is SRPeakCheck at the moment. I think that SRPeakCheck's actually higher than Aya in the standings, so obviously if Aya get that win today, that'll be huge for them moving forward.
Yeah, 3rd and 4th seed going head-to-head, as we just got to see the 1st and 2nd seed going head-to-head. So it really is going to be a lovely window into how these teams are going to line up against each other when we head into those playoffs. But there is something that we have to address here, Dustin, because I am casting my eye over SRPeakCheck's playlist, and I am seeing one very large absence of a tank player. In fact, one Reinhardt-shaped tank player that normally goes right in the middle is actually not there today. It looks like we're going to be seeing Danet off of the Symmetra role, and instead onto the Doomfist.
Yeah, that is odd for sure. I mean, like, what, he's not streaming either, so Cloudy's obviously not just playing today in general. Danet, playing instead of Cloudy. Where's Cloudy to say that Reinhardt's the best hero now? Now it's going to be Doomfist in the lobby, so it's like he said, why would you play anything other than Reinhardt? Well, today they're playing the Doomfist, so
I can kind of anticipate why. In fact, there was a conversation that you and I both had before we actually started the broadcast where I was like, oh, SRPeakCheck and Aya are going head-to-head. Well, that's going to be interesting because poor Cloudy is just not going to be able to hold her shield up. Kaya on the Junkrat's going to absolutely shred it. So I think by actually moving away from that Reinhardt, even though they have the Symmetra TP to avoid a lot of that poke phase, just battering down Cloudy's shield and then health bar, if you field the Doomfist over the Rein, very similar to the Zarya, right? If you use Power Block, the Junkrat spam damage actually enables you to have a lot more strength into your initiation. So it's going to be interesting to see how that offsets the tempo with, because we know their positioning, we know their ultimate economy. It's hectic and chaos all over the place, but that's exactly what this team loves to do. They love to take all of the coordination, all of the order that a team has, and rip it all to shreds.
Yep, they love to do it. And now, obviously, our first map will be going to is Oasis. And like you said, I mean, this is going to be utter chaos between these two teams. I mean, we can expect the compositions, but we can't really expect the outcome, I would say, for both teams. Oasis, could go either way. I mean, I guess you would say that it would favor a Wrecking Ball over the likes of a Doomfist.
I would say it would favor a Junkrat over the likes of everything, given just how tight some of those hallways that you have to cross into are. There's just so much spam potential, and it's going to be really interesting to see how SRPeakCheck reacts to this, because the one problem that Aya has always had, no matter which season they've participated in Contenders, is just the predictability of the composition and the heroes that players know they're going to be running into, and so everyone makes game plans and different rotations and compositions that they come in with based on what they know they're going to be going up against.
Going into Oasis, Moxie, I mean, both teams obviously have a storied background, making slight changes over the course of the past two seasons. I mean, you talked about earlier, I mean, Danet coming in now is definitely a unique choice for the side of SRPeakCheck. I mean, it could be a sign of them trying to switch it up, maybe switch something to more normal composition-wise. If Danet has the Ramatra into his hero pool, do you think he does?
I potentially. I mean, we are seeing some pretty hard counters come through. QRXU actually deciding to come out onto the Cassidy. Probably just going for that initial Symmetra TP. Vi potentially going to be sticking on the Sombra because, well, I mean, they're going to know what Chasm's rolling out with. Of course, it's going to be a Wrecking Ball. And one of Wrecking Ball's biggest counter is Sombra at the moment, but also Cassidy. With that Burden, it cancels a lot of that momentum that the Wrecking Ball is trying to set up.
And Wrecking Ball is such a fast hero, already rotated over to that point. Hasn't been so impactful so far this season on it. Meanwhile, knowing the Doomfist is off the high ground, Kaya opts to take it instantly. Has a great angle of spam from Danid, gets poked out, hacked this ball on the low ground. Eventually will get found by Coolboy over that left flank too. I mean, no more Doomfist in this fight. QRX does trade it back. Eventually, Chasm goes for that dive, enables Hot Babe to find QRXU, and oh yeah, have controlled the point while Chasm is just being a nuisance to the backline of SRP Check.
But it feels like SRP Check's composition is just going for individual survivability prioritized over order. Dollar on the Moira isn't really going to be there to help Danid because the Moira is never going to be where the Doomfist is, especially if the Doomfist gets hacked away from your backline. However, that Burden Nade from QRXU and the burst damage that it has is actually forcing Kaya off of the angle. But again, that Sombra is just making it so much harder for the Doom to find value.
Was a fantastic lamp earlier there by Coolboy to keep Kaya alive. 30% of the board now. Hot Babe still looks to go aggressive. I mean, usually these Karika players do tend to play as aggressive as they possibly can and then swift step away. But now it's resulting in QRXU finding the opening pick. Hot Babe is gone already for oh yeah. They try to go for this dive with the Wrecking Ball ultimate, dropping the mines towards the main. QRXU does have the dive here, or does have the counter with Dala there, but Dala and Mickey both fall. Danid able to find Chasm is at least one pick, but QRXU needs to play a bit, or needs to have more support here. Danid able to find Kaya. Love does trade it back. And Vi comes back, but they both only have a mini to play around, no support, so they just have to give up that angle.
Yeah, and no flip either. Chasm with the hammer mines is actually able to stop SRP Jack from grouping up on the point, and as a result, oh yeah, have stalled it to 61%. Now we're going to see it finally in the favor of SRP Check, but the EMP cancels coalesces early. Dollar left incredibly low, but they're not going for the Moira. They prioritize the Doomfist, knowing that the ultimate is going to be up to keep the point stalled. And oh yeah, slide in with the easiest, fastest flip you've ever seen.
Yeah, only 50% of the board now. Tire committed from Kaya. 100 HP on it. Chasm coming through the disruption, comes through the backside. Mickey was not even ready to drop a Suzu or used it earlier. Now a high noon committed from QRXU. They're just making it scrappy at the moment on the likes of Aw Yan, who have committed that Kitsune rush. They avoided the high noon for now. Meanwhile, Vi does have the pulse, but it gets deleted by Kaya, who's trying to come around the backside. Chasm does get hindered temporarily, but eventually will back up. Kitsune rush pop from Mickey on the main. Again, down a person. They keep trying to fight in these 4 versus 5s. We'll see if, I mean, they do have to, but we'll see if it works out for them this time. They send Danid in. Overtime still ticking down. Eventually, Chasm just kind of disrupts, stand on the inside angle. Love gets poked, eventually has to translocate away. Danid does avoid death temporarily. Dala gets poked down so low, but Kaya is still spamming on the main. Eventually, Chasm gets found by Fi on the outside. Kaya also gets dove on by QRXU on the flank. Knowing that Kaya is aware of his location, QRXU has to back up, but he does find Love. And the flip, SR Peakjet have regrouped around the point and have not had to use their coalescence either.
Mortality Field used early as well from Oya's side, so they're going to lose both of their supports and now have to go for a full regroup. This is where SRP's composition can really come into full power, right? Fire's going to have all of these flank angles to come in with the Pulse Bomb as a surprise present. QRXU is going to have control of the high ground for the Cassidy, and Danid gets to be able to set the rollouts out to make sure that Kaya's spam damage doesn't keep SRP Check off of the angles they need to control.
Yeah, now Kaya is going to spawn close to that Riptire. Coolboy also has the Matrix, but SRP Check, you know, building towards their ultimates, already have 3 ready to go as well. 50% now crossing the board. SRP Check in a solid spot.
Yeah, but they're so far behind in terms of percentage.
Wow.
We can sort of like expand on that point a little bit, right? Oya is sitting at 99%, SRP Check 55%. So what Oya needs to do is literally win one team fight, and they're going to be coming in with a lot of different ultimates, Dustin. EMP can entirely disrupt SRP Check's positioning and cut out the coalescence early. We've already seen it occur once. And Chasm's going to be coming really close to Hammond Mines as well to be able to scoop that point immediately into Oya's favor. And then it's not going to matter if SRP Check have the high ground because they're going to have to give it up to make sure that they can contest the overtime.
SRP Check now. They're waiting for, I believe, we got to pause, by the way, so we have to wait for, I believe it's Dala's internet to kind of stabilize. Chasm already went through on these dives. I mean, during these pause menu, like, during these timings, you kind of, I think usually, at least in Overwatch League, you're not allowed to speak during pause timers, at least in person. But you can't really like enforce that, I believe, in Contenders because it's all online, right? So I imagine you'd probably just be communicating during this time, like, okay, let's just focus down Chasm and try to kill him here. But, Wrecking Ball with how much HP he has, can you really even, like, remove him that quickly?
So you do have Magnate with the Burden, which is going to actually be coming off of cooldown. We have actually the pleasure of being able to see that it is 3 seconds away from being available, but the Doomfist Punch actually just shoves him straight back.
Wait, Kaya just finds 2 as well. I mean, just instantly finds those 2 kills. They already had 99% of the board. Fi drops the Pulse Bomb to try to find some value here, but with 40 HP, he has to move on to this point with Dandit and go aggressive, resulting in Hot Babes finding him. Kaya as well will find 3 onto Dala at the end of it, who had to come back now. Dandit's able to find 1 onto the Riptire and Kaya,
no one can tell.
But he has to get away from the point. Kaya as well, just kind of explosion at the very end of the win there. Round number 1 going in Aya's favor.
Yeah, so I think to give more of sort of a window into Danet's thinking, he tries to cancel the pile drive onto 2 of those squishies with the punch. And unfortunately, the damage has already been done. Like, you've already lost that position. Kaya, like you saw, just comes in and absolutely eviscerates SRP Check when he knows where those players are going to be. His Junkrat is absolutely exceptional at being able to land those ones as well. Like, I think he's probably the most accurate Junkrat I've ever seen. Maybe J-Krat, notwithstanding.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. I mean, Jake was a great Junkrat player in his own time. But that was also when XQC was playing Overwatch League, so, maybe the skill level wasn't really that high just yet. Oh yeah, though, walking in on this right side mini, kind of just take that space while SRP Check look to surround, but Kaya is able to find Fi early on with a nice concussion mine.
Oh, good hack as well onto Danet early, so SRP Check just don't get the in that they're looking for. This Doomfist is being shut down, and as a result, QRT just doesn't have the space to be able to take the high ground, and there it is. Kaya immediately swoops in and claims what SRP Check had left absent. They're so pressured, they have to use Immortality Field, Dustin, to be able to safely regroup at spawn.
QRXU able to find Chasm at the very least. That was a funny hack onto Dandit as we got booped into the pit, or into the waters from Chasm. Now SRP trying to walk through a hack onto Dandit as well. Just constantly disrupting him. But QRXU hits those shots. I mean, 2 great kills for him. Moving on, we're told at this point, they're actually getting that objective time potentially in their favor as Kaya sits in this left side room. It's just such an amazing room for Junkrat to be sitting in. It's so tough to kind of uproot him on this inside angle. Just constantly spamming it through, but Dandit finds Cool Boy on the outside. Love does trade it back though, so it's 1-for-1, and Chasm is just kind of an infinite circle range here at the main side to make sure SRP Check can't walk in.
He's just doing donuts on the edges of the point. He has the mines as well, so even if SRP Check try and just walk forward and find the split, he can potentially just come through and drop them, and the stall is there, and there it is!
Actually, the slam comes through. 55% of the board. Ant Matrix here, though, drops the grenade through the Ant Matrix, but Chasm finds Dandit again. This is so tough. QRXU finds Schoolboy. Mickey will find Chasm, so they're getting the kills. QRXU going off at the moment. 2K, make that 3, comes through the left side of the Chasm, and that's a 4 for him.
Yeah, but here's the problem. They may have gotten 4 kills off QRXU, but it cost them 3 whole ultimates to do so. Amplification Matrix, Dragon Strike, and Deadeye all invested at the trade of Hammond Mines from Oya's side. They have the ultimate advantage, they have the EMP, they can literally just come in with the Hammond and offset all of the coordination as Kai uses that Junkrat tire to clear the point and still makes a dollar!
Oh no, that's so bad, but Dandit able to find the Junkrat as well as Fi getting onto Love. Did cost him his life, so it's a trade 1-for-1. Chasm's here with the boop. Mickey off the map, also with the kill onto QRXU. Tandon is stuck in a Junkrat trap. Oh yeah, we'll flip the point after using the Ant Matrix.
QRXU does have the Deadeye, but Love has the EMP to be able to cancel it out. Hot Babe's got the Kitsune Rush too. Nothing is really going to force Oya's hand into giving up this point or the Casti ultimate as they just go proactive.
EMP from Love. They try to use the Immortality Bow to keep their team alive, but again, it does lose his life. Dala does trade back Hot Babe, so Kaya's heals are reduced just to a Baptiste. Concussion Mine to disrupt everybody on the outside. Hits those sky shots on the Mick G. Love and him combined for 4. Hack on to Danon as well. And oh yeah, will seamlessly take Oasis.
Oh my goodness, what a team. What a composition. What absolute chaos they bring to these fights, and it's exactly how they want it. They have the stall potential, they have the mobility, they can literally afford to throw player after player after player in a coordinated line at entire teams as they respawn, so not only are they always ahead in terms of ultimate economy, but they're always ahead in terms of point presence too.
And you know what's surprising, Moxie, is that I feel like in Overwatch, you know how we've kind of seen a lot of these Pharah players and Junkrat players reach new levels, right? With Kaya hitting those mid-air shots as well. I just remember at the beginning of this game, everyone's like, nah, it's too hard to hit consistent directs as a Pharah. It's too hard to hit consistent direct shots as a Junkrat. But now, you know, as the years have gone on, as we've had like 5-6 years of this game, it does feel like, you know, a lot of these players have reached new heights. You know, like the game that shall not be named, there was a lot of players that came over from it and on to Overwatch, and they're like, oh, this character's not as high skill level as this character. But now, you know, Pharah players have reached new heights where we consistently see one tricks and players that focus on one hero that have really honestly reached higher levels than the game that shall not be named. Like, honestly, like, I mean, I'll just say it, like, freaking Junkrat, honestly, is at times even higher skill level than Demoman. And Pharah, same thing. You know, I'm going to be that guy. Like, I just think that these two characters over the course of this game have progressed to a way where the skill level of them have reached so freaking high. And Kaya proving that today. And Aya in general, like, it wasn't just him. It was obviously Chasm on the Wrecking Ball. And overall, Aya, to make that map number 1 look super easy, Moxie.
I mean, yeah, this is what Oya have always been about, right? Take one specific hero that a player can just play to that insane level and show how far you can run with it. There's a reason that streamers do specific heroes unranked to GM runs all of the time to show that just being that good at one specific hero is more than enough to be able to carry you through. In fact, Oya are probably just the personification of one of those runs, but they do it in the contender scene and they make it look so easy. And heading over to Numbani, I have no doubt that we're going to see SRP Check try and take advantage of what you just mentioned, potentially something like the Pharah or even the Echo. But we have seen in the past that Kaya has absolutely no respect for the quite literal heights that you can reach as either a Pharah or an Echo. He will literally just double jump mine straight into you and still be able to pick up the kill.
So Numbani's the map, Moxie. SRP Check's doing some subs, but not really subs. They're just swapping their members around. Fi will be playing on the Winston / tank in general. We don't know what hero he's going to play just yet. And then Danid's off on to DPS again. What the heck is SRP Check doing today?
Okay, so they are locked into that position already, right? We know, unlike NA, where everything is still very much up in the air, we know from the side of EU, our 8 teams that are making it through into the playoffs. So if there is ever an occasion or a day where you're going to actually choose to off-roll because you don't have access to one of your tank players, it is now. But yes, it is unfortunately a little bit problematic when you're going up against a team that is just so set in trying to create as much chaos as possible, when in terms of the players that you have available, you're already dealing with a lot of chaos and coordination gone awry. Yeah,
I mean, this is going to be a different kind of look for SRP Check, and, you know, obviously on a map like Numbani, I guess they can really, you know, focus on making Ya's life uncomfortable too. But I mean, like you said earlier, Mox, I mean, both these teams, they have a very similar game plan, right? You said that they just like want to just kind of just make those mechanical plays, play kind of solo queue-esque, And eventually it either works out for one or the other, but both have that similar gameplay. I mean, do you think walking with Fi onto that tank role can give them a bit more of a set strategy that just isn't pop off QRXU?
I still think it's going to be pop-off QRXU, especially when you take us over to Numbani, whether or not you're playing the Ashe or the Cassidy. There's a lot of focus on that DPS just winning those duels, so you don't have to worry about Kaya being able to just eviscerate your backline in the split second. And I think that's something that a lot of these teams are probably going to be pretty concerned with. There's a reason why Oya are so high in standings as they are. But one particular thing that's definitely going to have a negative impact onto SRP Check's performance today is that normally this team's entire identity, it's not just about chaos, it's about we have Cloudy. We literally run Symmetra and Lucio in this current meta, and we just push on you as quickly as possible, whether we use the TP genuinely or to just play mind games and bait you into thinking that we're going to take it so you turn your backs. That's all up in the air, but I mean, what else is going to be up in the air is what are running out with, because they're running Chasm on the right heart.
I'm just gonna go for an early, like, one-shot pin, surprise pin, I guess. But he's running. He's a little far away though, so they don't hear him for now. You think he's gonna get it? He's gonna pin off the map and then switch to Wrecking Ball.
aren't running the hands though, so they actually have no way of spy checking this.
Oh my god! Oh, he goes for it. Oh no! Oh, he didn't get it. He didn't get the pin. Oh no! He got slept too. Goodbye, Chasm. See you later, buddy. Oh my god, man. Chasm, you freaking troll. Danon also finds Hotbabe, so off of this, they might actually lose because Hotbabe was not ready to back off. Kai is also down under, being a nuisance as per usual, and actually flanks through the main side. Eventually, Chasm will come back on the Wrecking Ball. Hack did come through. Chasm will get the perfectly timed flank, but QRXU's already found Cool Boy. 2 ticks have been given. Kaya comes through on the other side, grabs the health pack as well. Chasm will have to touch, though, and against QRXU, who's just sitting on the high ground, they just give it up.
Yeah, so it works a little bit better, I would say, on Blizzard World, where you have just a little bit more punishment from the rest of your teammates to just keep the attacking side slowed down so that you can come back sooner in the fight and still have the presence on the point, as opposed to Numbani, where when you lose that tank, everyone from SRP Check, especially with Downhead on this Echo, just gets to go incredibly aggressive towards claiming that high ground, and in doing so, the point itself, as Chasm now is going to be sticking on the Wrecking Ball for the rest of this map. Kaya and Love, however, not really finding the avenues that they're looking for. The space just not available with the absence of the tank, so now they're going to be relying on corner control.
Fi does get healed up. They had to use the Valkyrie. Chasm was trying to find him. Now they go aggressive SRP take with the Nano Boost on to Fi. No kills out of it just yet. Kai is still sitting in that mini room on the health. Nice boop away on to find a force him back, but Dana with the space created is able to find Chasm, who is back on the cart. Nades also popped his zone back around. Kaya on the inside. Hotbabe trying to run away from Danid. Results in Mickey finding Kaya too. I mean, they're getting this cart pushing forward. They're trying to just die on this payload now. Oh yeah. But it's resulting in, you know, this consistent cart pressure now from SRP Check.
Love does have the EMP, and Chasm so close to the hammer mines. That tends to be the initiation tool for Oya to really start pushing you out of position when they're looking for an approach. But SRP Check, sitting on ultimates of their own, have the means to be able to peel. Even if the hammer mines or EMP comes through, they have the ball.
Ooh, nice EMP from Love as well. Connect on a Danid so he could not get the copy sleep dart on the kind to slow him down for now. And back up, Mickey's trying to live with Dala. Primal Rage was popped by Fi there as well. Chasm now trying to get onto this Ana, but he gets AT'd and gets slowed down for now. But Mickey gets hacked on the inside, knowing that Chasm will re-peak down to 50 HP. But able to get healed up from the health pack. Rez comes through on Mickey's side, though, so SRP Check's still in it. But they lose Fi on the aggressive angle. Oh yeah, now sitting pretty.
Yeah, unfortunately, the backline was just kept out of line of sight of the Winston, and as a result, Fi without that primal goes down, and now we descend back into the ordered chaos. Oh yeah, do lose Love for the moment. A really good sleep coming through from Mickey, but unfortunately that means that that defensive cooldown is up, and Kaya, with the help of the rest of the team, is able to collapse onto the Ana, and SRP Check are just kept in place around this corner where the spam is so potent.
And Joker players play a different game. Kaya drops that Riptire, but is killed by Dan on the inside because of it. SRP is doing a good job at just finding these, you know, the kills onto Kaya when he's using the Riptire. And with it, they push forward with the Valkyrie. Sleep Dart came through onto Love, who came back on the flank. No, the follow-up damage tried to be there, but the burst was a bit too awkward of a window as Fi, I think, opened it up. Wrecking Ball mines here as well. Slow Fi down. Oh, yeah, still holding on. Even though they lost Kaya there, he still got to kill with the Riptire. And they still have this pressure, this forward momentum with Love and Kaisam.
Yeah, Love's going to be building up towards this EMP, keeping relative pace with QRX2, but the Ash Forest is also a really good coach gun. Denies the power drive from Chasm, keeps the Wrecking Ball in check so that Danid, entirely uncontested, is able to pop off and find the kills needed.
High on the inside, tries to live, but Danid hunts him down. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. They're finishing off here. I mean, QRXU and Danid, the DPS duo of those two have really been coming together for SRP towards the end. Chasm will be melted by the Echo, but gets that Immortality Field. Ant Matrix here. Danid tries to go in to prevent that value. They actually get the kill off the Nano Boost as well. Now they come back towards that cart, find one. Love does trade back onto 5 with Chasms alone here. Kaya was trying to delay things, but SRP check now move on to third.
Really good nano boost from Mickey onto Danid so that the Echo, like you said, can push aggressively through that amp and deny Cool Void the sustainability through it. Keep the other members alive. Hot Babe now off of the Lucio, goes on to the Zenyatta for that damage. The Discord's going to do so much, as well as these volleys that you can pre-armor around all of these corners as SRP is forced to walk into the damage. Love still holding onto the EMP, goes down with it intact, but QRXU is traded, and now it's just spam damage galore.
Sorry, I'm just so impressed by QRXU. I think he's like, obviously died there at the end. Mickey finds Chasm though, nice shot from Mickey on the support Ana side, and now with that pick, they could actually push forward as they wait for Chasm to come back with Love rather, sitting with the EMP towards that cart, waiting for a support potentially to walk up. Has a 3-person EMP, now make it a 2. Connects both on the Danid and the Mercy, but the copy eventually comes through from Danid. He has to lose the mech, or the copy there though. Dulla still popping that Valkyrie to give him the sustain. Chasm's able to find Danid, however it is traded because Fi is able to find one with that Primal Rage. Bob also zones back, still pumping in damage on Chasm with the anti-grenade. Fi is able to find that kill. 2 minutes and 11 seconds left now. Oh yeah, they're in the backstream right now. SRP check looking to close out with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, but Oya have the means of delaying for Hot Babe to come in with the Transcendence, forced to use it so that he doesn't go down to Fi's primary, but Kaya's Junkrat target's taken down by QRX2. However, you have to worry about the hammer mines. Chasm, even though they're down players, is just using the ultimate to keep the payload in position so that Love on the Bastion can come through and try and chunk a player down, but he's on the sideline, he's not touching, so when Chasm gets forced away, it all comes down to Hot Babe, who goes down early.
Yeah, he's just down. Chasm looking to delay. I mean, Immortality Field too late to save Chasm's life. In the minute and 34 seconds left, SRP check will close out on new Bonnie attack.
Really good pack line coming through for SRP check. The fact that QRXU so many times gets pushed to the absolute brink in terms of health bar. It's such a good showing to make sure that even with Mercy and a healing, which is normally incredibly easy to be able to take advantage of because the Mercy is just forced almost to play alongside the Echo and put so much more strain and pressure onto the Ana, you're going to be losing those squishies if they get targeted down, especially when we see the Zen swap come through. That's what it is. It's there to punish the fact that your Ana is going to be too slow to be able to heal through the pre-armed volleys coming out around those corners, but QRX2 does not go down, and even when Danid gets focused down by the EMP, really smart duplicate onto the Baptiste, does lose it immediately, but is able to actually stay in the duplicate long enough to hit Immortality Field so that when he goes down, enough time has been spent that Dollar with the Valk is able to find the resurrection, and SRP check, don't lose a player, don't have to give up ground, and can continue to push away.
You know, and Fi on the Winston as well, Moxie, has been a consistent factor that enables them too. So I mean, like, obviously, like you mentioned, there's like overall supporting QRXU, just constantly that pressure. I mean, and on their attacking side, what do they even play here, Moxie, alongside the Wrecking Ball? Did they try to lock that Zen again?
You can try the Zen, but there's going to be just so much focus on this high ground. You have to be so careful that you don't just get jumped the second you try and commit towards this point.
Yeah, I think you're right. And now, Chasm sets up over the top. Actually, just boops forward onto QRXU, but the peel is there from Dana, the rest of SRP check. He's doing it again. Chasm coming through with the slam this time. Discord Orb onto Dandit, knowing he's the target of focus. has to back up. Cool Boy jumps up the top. An anti-grenade committed as well there from Mickey. Connects onto Aya to slow them down for now. Towards the point, Chasm tries to roll around the back. And eventually actually looks to try to cap it, but he is so low. Needs healing desperately, knowing that Fi tries to now go aggressive. Force off the high ground Kaya. Make sure he doesn't get a lot of that space. Almost a minute off the clock already. SRP check are holding so far.
Yeah, that anti actually forced the mortality field out early from Coolboy, so having to wait and regroup until that's back on cooldown as Danon gets absolutely chunked by Coolboy on the Baptiste.
Yeah, I think he took a little bit of a shot there from Kaya as well. I mean, that was tough. Really needed some healing from Dalo there, but I don't know what their game plan was. Maybe they wanted to go aggressive or something for SRP check side, but regardless, now are going to take point A.
Glass Cannonball is really starting to work. Hot Babe on that Zen with the Discord has just been doing so much to make sure that SRP check don't really have the means of being able to try and take advantage of the high ground and allow QRX to these angles to come in and win these fights and just use the dynamite damage to dwindle through Oya's resources when he's not actually facing against Hitscan. It's not a 1 versus 1. It's literally just Oya putting so many players onto the field that QRXU is just too occupied, too pushed on by all of these different angles to be able to find a pick.
Love with the pulse bomb sitting at the mini side. Heart pressure now being stopped actually because SRP check is there. Nice sleep dart from Mickey, but oh my god, gets pulse bomb immediately after hitting a nice sleep. Love 2k for him in this fight. Dalo gets the resurrect onto Mickey though, but you still have Love here with the Discord orb just kind of harassing and helping out making sure they can keep this car pushing forward with a large time bank.
And the second that they see that Dollar is pushed away from Danet's side, we see the dive onto the Echo, and Danet is just gone with that Discord orb. And a lack of pocket as just continue now to keep these angles spammed out. And SRP check, they have to decide, do they actually contest this? They're going to try. Duplicate comes through alongside the bot. This is such an overcommitment from them, and they're still going to lose the fight because of the tire.
Yeah, I mean, tire, wrecking ball. I mean, there's so much lockdown on this payload now. In terms of just pure damage, you know, he's immediately moving on to third. 5 minutes and 6 seconds. They are on a tear at the moment. Wait, that's an angle? Is that legal?
No.
Wait, Abin?
They know.
Oh, check it, blade! Oh, it's fine. He's fine. He comes back. Okay, 4 minutes, 55 seconds. They're still rolling.
Now we're going to see subs come through. SRP Danet off of the Echo onto the May for sustainability. As Fi goes for the exact same play. Dollar still sticking on the Mercy, however, going to be trying to damage boost QRX here.
On the staircase side, Love. Oh my god, pulse bomb on Defy. Kaya comes through with the concussion mine. Love also will find Dala. And now Chasm just kind of cleans up. I mean, that's our peak check. What's going on with them at the moment? Can they even get a solid Rika test?
They're going to try. We're going to see a swap onto the Tracer, but I mean, Chasm can just body block intercept, and that's exactly what happens.
Oh, hot babe. Jesus, 4 minutes and 17 seconds. I feel like we didn't even see, like, a team fight since first point, Moxie. That was brutal.
That is literally Oya's playstyle. They don't allow you to regroup. The second that they find any weakness that they can, they just continue to pick you apart and pick you apart and pick you apart because they're just so mobile. Even if you take one of these players down, the amount of damage that Kaya has covers Love's absence. Chasm has the ability to be anywhere within distance to be able to follow up on either a Discord from Hot Babe or just pressure from Love with the pulse pistols up close. Coolboy's always going to have things like Immortality Field because he's not being pressured since are taking all of the rest of the heat and pushing it onto SRP check, who have to play reactive rather than proactive, so the Baptista's never forced to use Immortality Field early the way that we saw in the first fight.
Ooh, man. On the defensive side, you know, opting to not play that Reinhardt like Chasm did early on in this time. They're going to be rocking with Love onto that Sombra. SRP check. I mean, they got to figure something out here in order to get this first point cap.
I mean, what they have to do is walk through main without going into that Junkrat trap, because if anyone falls for this, Love is going to be in position to just keep them hacked, and then with that extra passive damage, just chunk them down in seconds. Also, I will laugh incredibly hard.
Wait. Love also made the switch over to the Tracer, I think, after topping his translocator on the spawn. Nobody walks into it this time. Everybody avoids the trap for now. And it seems like SRP check just going to walk through this main, opt to not send any flankers for now.
Dynamite comes through from QRXU, pressuring onto Chasm, but I mean, you're a Wrecking Ball with the shield, you're still going to keep yourself up in the high ground and deny Dan at that angle, be able to drop down on the back line.
Nice coach gun away to force Chasm. Could have got that one shot temporarily. Cool Boy also got onto Danid. Eventually Love's there in the main side. I mean, already 50 seconds now on the clock. SR Peak Check just getting stagger killed. They do have some nice heals here, but the ante is huge from Hot Babe. Mickey also gets found. 3K for Love as well.
Pile drive is perfectly placed from Chasm as well. Just keeps all of those squishies scooped up into the air and held in position for Love to be able to come through with the follow-up. 23 eliminations, 3 deaths, Dustin, from the Tracer. As Pulse Bomb already pulled.
Love is playing so damn well. Wrecking Ball comes through, has to avoid the pulse, and he's immediately bounced into the air by Chasm. An explosion happens amidst the skies. 3K, make that a 4K now for Love. 5 will hit him with the Tesla cannon, but 13 seconds left now. He's just kind of in pure desperation mode. Down to 1 HP. Cool Boy will find him. 7 seconds. Eventually, Dollar will come out of the Valkyrie. He could potentially get a touch off if he runs to the point fast enough, but I don't even think he'll get the touch. Yeah, he doesn't. SR Peak Check get held and no time on the clock there. Oh, yeah, now move over to the attacking side with 4 minutes.
It's always a risk when you try and opt into a place like Numbani because you want to run towards the Echo. Because Baptiste is technically a hit scan, and Cool Boy and Hot Babe have shown that they are more than capable through all of the summer season of being able to take on the strongest Echoes and Pharahs in this region. But I mean, this synergy between Love and Chasm through the entirety of that side was absolutely insane. Every single time Love wanted to make a move, Chasm provided the space, and vice versa. Whenever any of them wants to properly use that kit, every pile drive is followed up on, every pulse bomb has the opportunity created to turn it from 1 kill into 2.
Now on the offensive side, oh yeah, I mean, they're in a great spot. You only need 33%, right, to get this first stick, and you get the win for all yes side, and it seems like they don't really have to make any compositional changes either, right?
And SRP Check, like, they have a really tough task ahead of them because they can't just give up the point. That's why we're probably going to be seeing Love playing on the Tracer, and you don't even need to go infiltration mode, where you send the Tracer on that really long wraparound all through the back of the point, pop up on the opposing high ground so you can push onto the Ana. No, you can go straight for point contest because it's going to force SRP Check off of the high ground to keep this map going.
Defend objective A.
Oh yeah, they send Chasm Coastal immediately just to get on towards that back flank. It's walled off though, can't get it off. Now actually comes through the main to try to avoid the damage, but the freeze from Dana to slow him down, make sure he cannot evade all of that damage, means that it'll cost him his life. 30 seconds off the clock now for all, yeah.
Yeah, really good zoning as well coming through from Fire to make sure that no one gets to properly push up from any room or distraction that Chasm could have provided. That main was going to be huge, but Love with the infiltration is able to jab the knife into the back with the help of the Discord, and the floodgates have opened. Oya have numbers, and that's swarming point.
Man, Love is on one today, man. Kaya also came through the top as soon as Love was in the back. That's perfect timing. Ah, yeah, are now up 2-0 over SR Peak Check, and no LH Cloudy in sight for them.
Oh, this team is looking incredibly strong, Dustin. Incredibly strong. Play of the game, Ghost Love. It has to be the double pulse bomb off of the pile driver, potentially even just managing to find the attachment onto the Mercy. Like, every single moment of weakness is taken advantage of. It really plays into Oya's repertoire too, to allow Love to just go ham on the Tracer and keep all of this distraction, all of these players having to look behind them and turn around to move away from the objective and deal with the Mosquito in the backline that's just mowing through them methodically one by one by one.
What great play from the likes of Oh Yeah so far. They're on that map point, obviously, over SR Peak Check, who are desperately trying to find something out to counter them. We'll see if SR Peak Check can potentially make a reverse sweep, but we have to go to a short break. So when we come back, we'll see you for the map number 5.
Oh, hello, fancy meeting you here. It's so nice to see ya. Are you ready to survive the wastelands? Then you'll need to bring your shotgun, your axe, and of course, your knife for your sharp wit, if you get my drift. Hey, whoa. Hold on there. Don't forget to pick up your Overwatch Contenders Junker Queen skin. Yeah, gearing up is as easy as connecting your Battle.net account to Twitch. And After that, watching the Overwatch Contender Summer Series will contribute to your drop progression, letting you claim your own Wasteland-ready Overwatch Contenders Junker Queen skin. Oh, that's right. It's time to rampage. Now, get out there and slay with the Overwatch Contenders Junker Queen skin. Okay, take care now. See you in chat.
Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, we're up 2-0 over SRP Check in the very last match of our round robin so far. Moxie, obviously, yeah, look to be in the driver's seat in the second game of the day. It feels like SRP Check, they're on the brink of losing this one. And yeah, are looking to secure, what is it, that third seed, basically?
I mean, they're looking dominant is what they're looking like, Dustin. Let's be honest. That Numbani was probably one of the fastest full pushes of Numbani both you and I have witnessed in the Contenders scene. It's like absolutely insane what they're able to do, and the heroes that they're able to do it with too. Like you would say, oh yeah, Echo meta, Junkrat's gonna be absolutely awful in Echo meta, especially if you're running Tracer alongside it. But no, that backline has the Echo absolutely nailed down. And you know what else we're potentially going to get to see too? The Love Widowmaker. As we're not going to be going anywhere other than Circuit Royale, which means double sniper potential Sigma. Ahoy.
Yep. Oh my god. All right. Oh, Circuit Royale. You think this is a map that SRP Check could actually come back on, Moxie? Or, at the moment, maybe, yeah, just to have their number?
I think they saw that QXU was finding a lot of value on the DPS, especially on the hit scan, and they want to take us to a place where that hit scan is going to have a lot more time to be able to flourish, so that even if Oya try and just aggressively push on you until your composition entirely frays and breaks at the edges, you still have those long open line of sights before the dive can properly set in to try and find those picks, potentially even run out on the Cassidy too, with the Burdenate to try and keep Oya off of your back for as long as possible to be able to take advantage of those angles for as much time as you can.
SRP Check side obviously looking to maybe come back in this. I mean, it does matter, obviously, right? Because if we're looking at the standings, right, it seems like, you might have to obviously play against harder teams, like some teams that have positive win rate compared to maybe a lesser team that you could play against, obviously, if if you're the 4th seed compared to, the 3rd seed, for example, because that really ends up mattering towards the playoffs, which are happening very, 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 very soon. But in this matchup today, obviously, Circuit Royale, that's where SRP Check are taking us to. For now, yeah, I mean, Moxie, do you think they have to change anything up, or oh yeah, just it kind of smooth sailing for them?
I mean, we could potentially see a change up. I don't think we're gonna see a change up. Like, Kaya can still find a lot of value on the Junkrat with things like the shield break. Love has been able to just flex onto whatever. He's a really good tracer, but he also has really solid hit scan in his back pocket. The last time we got to see Oya on broadcast, he went for Widowmaker on Ruins and was able to just absolutely clean house uncontested, so this really plays into his wheelhouse. I think for me, it's about the tempo that we see their opponent SRP check actually decide to come out with. Because whenever we've seen SRP check take us to this map, it has been when they've had Cloudy and they've been able to go for the Symmetra teleport strategy. Now, lacking that, it's going to be a little bit harder to be able to cross over some of those punishing angles.
Oh yeah, making a sub actually, it looks like in a second, Moxie, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to see in a second what that sub is. But I believe they're trying to mix things up just, I don't know, for the heck of it. I guess they're just in such an advantage spot. They're already up 2-0 over SRP Check, who really haven't been able to find much just yet. They're subbing. Okay, this is so weird. Let's go. Let's just show the real, show the sub. What's going on here? Oh yeah, like what are they doing, man? You got Isaac on the tank, and then you got, which makes sense, I guess. But then you have Chasm on the DPS. What the heck?
Are we just like a magnet for off-rolling strategies, Dustin?
Oh my god.
It feels
man.
like we are. Like, Necra in Owl has his C9 curse. We have we have the off-roll, but no, Chasm has been occasionally picking up the DPS for this team.
Okay.
So
yeah,
it's not entirely out of the boat or the box, but it's definitely not something that a lot of teams, I think, have sort of been wise to, especially broadcast-wise, because Oya have only had one game so far on broadcast. This is their second.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, they're used to playing at the Chasm DPS. I mean, we've seen it as well before. Very, very good soldier player, I'm assuming, decent soldier player. But the patch hasn't come through yet either, right? With the soldier buffs. Not in the current one they're playing, so he's not like incredibly overpowered like he surely will be.
I think more you're prioritizing Isaac being there on the Sigma. Like, we've talked in length about why Sigma is just incredibly strong in Circuit Royale. It's the exact same thing as why DPS find a lot of value, things like the Widowmaker, the Hands of the Sojourn, because of those long angles, and you need that Sigma to be able to shut those down with things like the Sigma Shield, which is a little bit more flexible in terms of its positioning, as well as the Shift when you run out of that shield. Unlike the Reinhardt, where when your shield shatters, unfortunately, your team's hopes and dreams shatter alongside it.
So we got a disconnect in the lobby as well. Unfortunately for Dala, I think his internet's been kind of screwy today. You know, I don't know what's going on in his household, but maybe they'll figure things out. Meanwhile, it is so funny. So yeah, apparently Chasm on his stream, from what our producer Jay has been telling us, he's saying that apparently there were claims that Chasm could not aim via the internet. So he did a, what is it? He did a GM to, or no, sorry, he did unranked to GM DPS only to get the higher ranks. So I guess that, yeah, Chasm can play the DPS. That's what people don't understand. Like, there's always like these people talking online that are just like aren't very good at the game. You know, a lot of plat chatters, and they're just like, oh yeah, you can't aim. But like, honestly, most people, unless they're a Mercy player, of course, in the GM level can aim. Like, honestly, like most, like pretty much all of them, no matter what, if they're playing like Cloudy can even play like GM to high level.
Excuse you? I think Moth and Ark would like some words with you, and Neptuno too. Mercy players,
yeah, they could. Okay, they could.
Aim. I'm surprised you didn't go for the low hanging fruit that is your reversion to another support beginning with M.
No, Moira players usually are good players. That's the thing. Like, they don't want to play Moira, but they have to, right? Meanwhile, Mercy players, I'm talking about pros. I'm talking about like the GM players in general that play Mercy. You know, that the Mercy one tricks per se. Those ones can't aim, Mox. You can't convince me otherwise. I mean, like, I would like to see a Mercy player that is a one trick.
You're about to give our mods on Twitch chat like actual connections with all of the messages that they're gonna have to keep an eye on. So let's get back to the game, because wouldn't you know it, we've got everyone back in the lobby, and here it is, Circuit Royale.
It's relevant, okay? Chasm in a pro match is playing the Soldier 76, trying to prove to us that he's a fantastic soldier player and not really a good soldier meta. So definitely an odd choice for sure. Also have Isaac for that Sigma roll. Anti-grenade connects onto Dandit off the backside. Immortality Field also committed from Dala there. With the regenerative burst, he surely will build an Ant Matrix first before if anything, and Dan finds Chasm. QRXU also gets rid of Isaac, and unfortunately, tough start for the Soldier 76 player of
Oh, they're gonna get a stagger kill onto Hot Babe as well. Yep, there Diana goes, as Danad is the one that's able to clean that up. Love is able to find QRXU, but I mean, the damage has been done. Not only have they lost point A incredibly quickly, they're also potentially going to lose some of this high ground early control for Love to be able to find these first picks and keep SRP check on the slope for as long as possible.
Ooh. Isaac trying to carry at the moment. Rock in just one-shots Mickey. No Immortality Field in sight from Dala. Was not expecting that much damage to come through. Also, Shirley will be staggered himself, and yep, he is. SRP check will finally get a hold. We'll get a hold, sorry.
Chasm using some of those lovely gaps. Ooh. And a helix straight to the face of a respawn QRXU. It's going to show that he absolutely can aim with the soldiers. The second helix does unfortunately miss, but I mean, you've been able to push SRP check onto the low ground, and this is where Love can really pick apart this team. You can use things like the Dragon Strike or the Flux to be able to force out either Transcendence or Immortality Field, and then the second ultimate can come through and actually confirm the kills you're looking for.
What a great game to end around Robin on Chasm on the Soldier 76, and then the rest of his team trying to support him. Immortality Field used, counter Dragon Strike into the Ant Matrix from the side of Dala. Also tosses zone Immortality Field to stay alive. Cool Boy is able to find one. Love combines for another. And with the added pressure, Danny now has to go aggressive, but he's without his team, is able to find Chasm at the very least, but eventually Love comes back for him and finds him. That's another hold for
QRXU now off of the Widowmaker onto the Storm. It's going to have a little bit of a harder time finding these infiltrations, given that you're playing into an already set up Hanzo with the Sonic, and they know exactly where the Sombra is hiding. Chasm, however, with Transcendence being burned out from the fight previously thanks to the Sigma Flux and Dragon Strike combo, is going to have a free attack visor as long as they're able to burn Dala's lamp out first.
Chasm pops the visor, gets the nano boost. Immortality Field to survive it for now, but now it's just far too much damage to deal with. Chasm ends up with a nice little 2K in that fight. Just runs on forward to look the top left. Doesn't realize there's a Hanzo in the bottom left, though. Almost got killed there. But that's a nice 2K from him.
Guarantee you he was pressing the F9 to capture that. Because it takes just a little bit too long to notice the Hanzo there and react. But Love is able to find out. This is why you prioritize this high ground hold when you're defending Circuit. You get so many avenues to be able to, with either Hanzo or Sojourn or Widowmaker, find these one-shots onto all of these squishies below and just finish a fight out so quickly, so brutally, and so one-sided that the other team doesn't really get to build up ultimate economy.
How is Chasm always found so freely from SRP check? Just 1v1 and QRXU just deleted Chasm.
He's used to having a much bigger health pool. Okay?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, true. Now kind of have to back off because of the Gravitic Flux from Fi. Actually got a kill with it onto Isaac as well. No Immortality Field to save him, unfortunately, from Cool Boy. It was popped out too late. Fi end up with a 2K after that. Now looks for the stagger kills on the left side. Spawn looking for the Ana. Or Nano Boost as well onto Love, but he's immediately removed from Mickey on the inside of the Discord angle. And also generic Zenyatta damage. Now the Ana is also getting staggered on the Hot Babe side. SRP check just looked to close out on the second phase. I mean, have some ultimates to recontest with, but they only have 3 people.
And they're also walking into an EMP. So even if Isaac uses the Flux, this Sombra ultimate can cancel it immediately. They're just going to hold on.
They hold on. Now they commit the amp, though, after the point was received. Isaac's able to find one, but now the EMP is here. From SRP check, they're able to get one more extra kill, whereas only got 2, resulting in now Isaac losing his life as well. SRP check now look to just keep pushing forward. They have 3 minutes on last phase. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so EMP was invested, however, to deal with Cool Boy's amp, and as a result, Love and Isaac do get a free pass, not have to worry about the Sombra ultimate keeping Isaac off of the Flux. But unfortunately, you still have to worry about Mickey's Transcendence, and you don't have the Tag Visor or the Dragon Strike to be able to bait it out early this time around. As we see an amp now go through, SRP check knowing Oya had used this previously, have to just back out as Dragon Strike gets thrown out. Oh no! The overlap lab and Transcendence in the same thing, and Flux is now free!
Yeah, Dala removed. Mickey able to find Love, though, at least out of his Transcendence. The ult game not great there for SRP check, but they're able to find Hot Babe. Isaac still got Fi though, and without your Sigma player, it's hard to come back from that.
Danet's going to have the Dragon Strike to try to just throw Oya off of this high ground. He's still trying to find the infiltration and blow up the CMP. Doesn't have to find Chasm though.
Moxie Chasm's feeding, okay?
You gonna say the line, Dustin?
Yeah, it's just like... it's just like, you could play at a GM or like a high level, I'm sure, of Soldier 76, but we're in a pro game, and like it's also not a Soldier meta too, on top of things. It's just like, Chasm's back is against the wall at the moment. It's just tough. It's just tough, Moxie. I don't know. He's still over the top, though. Has built a Tac Visor in a second. However, he's already down Love. Immortality Field also used by Cool Point. Gravitic Flux eventually will be burned out from Find. Did not find a kill with it necessarily. Chasm also gets hacked. Has to give up the high ground. Drops back towards his team at least. So he's a little bit more aware of when to kind of dodge and get away. Now comes over the top left flank, has the Nano Visor play. They've already lost their entire team, though. They've got to get maximum value. They've gotten nothing out of this Nano Visor play just yet. It's just avoided on all fronts. And then he's removed too by Dala. No! Dated also finds Hot Babe. Ant Matrix can't even be used because Coolboy has to drop into the EMP. And, alright, maybe Chasm on the Soldier 76. Not the play.
They're just holding strats, Dustin, okay? They're not wanting to give their hand away before we head off into... No. I agree. It didn't find that much value. Like you said, we're not yet into Gigabuff Soldier era. He hasn't done all of his push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. And as a result, even with a nano, it's pretty easy to just be able to disengage and come back in afterwards.
I mean, playing Soldier 76 is fun, but like you saw earlier, I mean, literally you could tell in the matchup with QRXU. I mean, QRXU on the Sombra was just getting so much value continuously. I mean, just free pick after free pick, perfectly timed hacks. I mean, QRXU also just generally, what a standout player he's been so far in this series, even though his team is, you know, down 2 maps.
Yeah,
right?
and I mean, when you lack that capacity as well to be able to throw that Burden Nade and keep the Sombra from just translocating out, if you don't manage to find that instant kill on the Sombra, not only does QRXU get so much value, it's all for virtual free. And it depletes even more resources that Oya have to be able to divert into holding that objective down and properly punishing the control of the high ground that's normally there for the defense. As now the sides are going to flip. Chasm this time around potentially going to try his hand at the Hanzo with SR peek check to side for the more optimal double sniper setup on the defense.
All right, let's see if it works out for him. Chasm gets body shot early on from QRXU. Also on the other side, Love will be trying his hand at the Hanzo. I mean, both teams playing the double sniper. However, Isaac's on the Zarya with Hot Babe on the Zenyatta and Kubo on the Ana. Meanwhile, SRP check running Sigma with the BAP and Zen. A little bit more traditional, right?
Well, we've seen Isaac on the Zarya before in other seasons of Contenders as well, and it has worked. You're going to be getting so much free charge off of these Hanzo shots coming through in terms of that poke. You can already see Isaac nearly fully charged, but unfortunately without that shield, Dana just gets such a free reign to be able to poke down these squishies.
Yeah, Danid finds that kill onto Chasm again early on. Now Isaac tries to equalize it to come out top. Fine has killed the Hot Babe. And by the way, while the fight's happening, Chasm has swapped over back for that Soldier 76. Isaac still alive, though. Has a lot of damage. High charge with a right click. Kills Danid and Dala on the inside. Why would you try to go inside? Angle versus a fully charged Zarya. That's so tough to deal with. SRP check now back to the spawn doors off of Isaac with the fatty right click.
He's going to have Graviton as well off of all of the damage that he's able to output. Mickey is going to need Dana to come in with an early first pick if they can actually build up Transcendence to be able to keep pace with this Graviton. Find out onto the Winston to try and contest as quickly as possible. But there's the Zarya who's entirely ignoring your tank.
There's the grab. Danid also eventually came back into the grab. He jumped away from it and then back into it. That surely should give him his first point. Chasm had a nice little flank in 2K there as well. 4 minutes, 50 seconds left now. Oh, yeah, move on to streets.
Dala going to be close to the Ant Matrix. They're going to have it for the next fight, but fires off of the Winston onto a Zarya of their own. As Danid now onto the mate, trying to punish this lack of rotation that Oya has without this Lucio. Catch the Zarya out of line of sight of the Ana and chunk them down before those bubbles can properly keep the Zarya sustained.
Zarya now. Nano boost used onto Isaac. Ant Matrix, though, surely will zone. Whoa! Isaac just hit a yeet across the map onto Dala. Also finds Danded. And then onto Mickey. Oh my god, Isaac. Okay, buddy. Fantastic. You called it, Mox. I mean, what a great Zarya player he's been.
Yeah, when you have a Nano Boost and a Discord Orb, and you can just interchange target that you're going for, Zarya is absolutely terrifying, especially when you're playing into a Zarya who doesn't have a Nano Boost but does have that Discord. As Love untouched on the Widow at the moment. Chasm's going to be coming in with the Tac Visor. Mickey does have Transcendence if SRP Check want to fight this. And there it is. Tac Visor, Baitai, Transcendence, and oh yeah, disengage.
Yeah, Visor negated, both Transcendence is used. Isaac, knowing that he has to come back towards his team, is still flanking on Zarya, basically. But his team is being pressured heavily at the moment by SRP Tech. Now he's turned upon. 1 bubble, 2 bubble reused, now has another. But Love able to find Dandit there. That's a great opening kill. Isaac's also, at the end of the day, able to find Phi Chasm with the follow-up on, and Mickey results in, oh yeah, moving on to third.
Oh yeah, have snowball potential too. Because in that last fight, we saw Transcendence match Transcendence. Isaac doesn't have to worry about the Zen ultimate. You just have to worry about Immortality Field, as they're going to go for a sneak play. Isaac is not going to be expected to be playing up towards this high ground. They are spotted out. They do lose Chasm in rotation. But the Graviton's still there, and the Suited buys them the time to survive. Lant now comes through, and Isaac finds nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he just didn't have any teammates there after losing that opening kill, and now... You know, obviously, Cool Boy's trying to back up. QRXQ does have to translocate away, though. Make sure he doesn't die to that Ana. But Dala eventually finds that stagger kill.
That swap from Mickey onto the Kiriko is absolutely clutch. Not only with the Suzu are you able to keep everyone alive, you allow QRXQ to hold on to this EMP to stop Oya from finding aggression with the Nano when it comes through.
EMP there from QRXQ, but it cost him his life. Chasm. I believe that was just a nice shot onto QRXQ who came through with the EMP. No follow-up was there either. Tough spot to fight at for the side of SRP Check. Now they have to back up. QRXQ swapping back onto the Sombra after switching Sojourn for a sec. But Phi's still sitting with that Graviton Surge ready to go.
Cool Boy has the Nano. Hot Babe's so close to Transcend, so even if Dollar tries to use this Amplification Matrix, they still have the healing, especially with the Nano onto the Zarya, to keep everyone intact over the Graviton, and Blizzard piled on top.
Yeah, he's going to have to go hard. He got 2, but that might not be enough. Unless Phi gets poked down, needs those heals from that Kiriko. They actually commit Kitsune Rush here as well to keep up in those heals. 3 minutes and 13 seconds left with the Kitsune Rush. They're still trying to just build up that grab with it. Get those recharges on the bubbles quicker. They actually give up on that angle, allow Aya some space to avoid the grab.
They have to. Like you said, Isaac has the Graviton and Chasm. Going to have the Tac Visor to be able to layer over the top of it. Danit, speaking of coming over the top, tries to just pressure out. Oh yeah, with that corner hold. Felix allows Mickey to be able to clean up onto Love, so no Dragon Strike to combo.
They're trying to win again right here and right now. They commit the grab, but again, the damage isn't there. I mean, they have double supports. Danit over the top side, pops the Tac Visor, or sorry, Chasm pops the Tac Visor on the low ground, but he's immediately removed by Phi. Tried to go aggressive, not enough bubbles to keep him alive. Dandit also finds Hot Babe. Unfortunately, no value found out of the Visor. And they commit Nano onto Isaac. They still want to win, even though it's just Isaac. So Isaac's gotten 2. Looking for more on the back. I mean, he could potentially do this by himself. He's got Love here as well over the back. Now at a 1 versus 2. Suzu already used into the Nano Boost, so this might be too much health reduction or damage reduction. But Love eventually will find it with the headshot, but a perfectly placed anti-grenade. No bubbles are up. Should be able to find Love off of that, but they don't. Now they have to commit the Graviton Surge. It's just the Hanzo caught in it, but it should slow down for now. I mean, this is scrappy as hell so far.
QRXQ about to hit EMP, but Hot Babe's going to hit Transcendence at the same time. It's a game of cat and mouse, and the Sombra gets spotted out!
He does get spotted out, has to translocate away. Isaac goes aggressive, but both bubbles are used. Now into a Transcendence, so he can play aggressive with this high charge. He just needs to find a kill. EMP, though, oh my god, it's big. Danit found the Helix onto Chasm and then onto Hot Babe. Isaac just tries to get out with his life to keep some charge, but it's going to be so hard to do so. Dandit did eventually get slept, but the damage was already done. Now 1 minute and 20 seconds left, and stagger kills. Love coming through, trying to find something, but can't get the back cap, and actually just gets out with his life.
Isaac has the Graviton. Oh yeah, have 1 clean push left to their name. And Danit now takes high ground control with the Tac Visor, but Love on the Tracer takes Mickey down before Kitsune Rush can be achieved.
Oh no. I mean, Mickey will be back at least if I can, stall on this payload for a bit. Over the top, Hot Babe got hacked, but he did eventually pop his Suzu off. Dana now has to drop off the high ground, deal with the Tracer, and he wins that duel with love. Get the melee shot onto him, perfectly placed from him. Now 45 seconds left for all together, down a member. Isaac still has this grab with a slow looking for it, like no speed, so they're just looking for one member the side of SRP check. They look to push the payload at the very end. Now that visor comes through from Danid, but Mickey's dead. Fi eventually will kill Isaac, who popped the grab, but Danid eventually flicks back around to the chasm, who flanked over the top. Isaac was already removed earlier, 20 seconds left. All yeah, just need to hope that SRP check get off this payload, or just go for a quick reset, but Love's still fighting.
Yeah, they're going to now lose the Tracer to Stagger. Love, who had the Pulse Bomb, was probably the best bet at being able to tap. Isaac onto the Reinhardt to try and charge onto the card as much as possible. Is going to be stuck around this corner by Fire, especially with the hand coming through and denying him the capability of touching, as Overtime just can't hit. SR peak check, complete the hold.
Dude, what the hell, man? What the that was so. Okay, they're playing Zarya Soldier 76 in 2023. I mean, that was crazy. Honestly, it's probably crazier seeing a Soldier now than seeing a Torbjorn. But obviously,
do not fault the Zarya. Okay, that nano boosted Zarya for both of these sides was doing extreme damage numbers, like extreme damage numbers. And the bubbles too were really well placed from both of the Zaryas. Both Isaac and Fi had some really clutch bubbles. Like Danad, when he's dropping from the high ground to the low ground with that tack visor and he's being chased by Love, bubble saves him, so he can actually turn around to 180, get a couple of shots onto the Trace, and then finish up with a melee.
You're right, but you know, Moxie, the way I see it is the moment you start playing Zarya is the moment that this obviously becomes like a ranked game.
Yeah, it's the moment that it falls into the favor of the defense. That's always the way that Zarya into Zarya is going to play, because if you have to use your bubbles as the fight approaches, rather than being able to use them to hold on to that ground, you're always going to be behind in terms of the cooldowns for the other side.
But it's also like Zarya is just like that solo carry hero, right? Like you just play Zarya when, at least at the moment, when you're just like, okay, my team sucks. I'm just gonna play the Zarya and try to carry these guys, you know, see if it goes. And that's what Isaac did, honestly. Like his team doesn't suck or anything like that. But I'm just saying in rank, that's kind of how it works, right? You just play Zarya when, because Zarya is a very high impact character when you get high charge, and it's just like the only tank that, I mean, yeah, where Matra does a lot of damage and stuff, but you still require your team. Whereas Zarya, it's like just get high charge and just try to track, right? Just aim down everybody, and eventually you get the win. But now for SRP check, obviously the first two games didn't go their way. Oh yes, still have the opportunity to make those swaps back to having Chasm on the wrecking ball again, right?
Yeah, especially now because they lose Circuit Royale, so they're the ones that get to decide where they want to take us next. It's going to be really interesting to see what composition they want to field towards, and whether or not we are going to see Isaac stick around, maybe potentially to play a little bit more of the Zarya, or if we are going to see the return to form of the Wrecking Ball. Because I think both you and I understand that Circuit Royale was a little bit of cheese, a little bit of playing with your food, perhaps a tad prematurely. But it definitely feels like with the Wrecking Ball composition, it's where they find their best synergy in terms of the dive for Love on the Tracer.
Yep, and now we are going over to Esperanza, which is the next map chosen by, obviously they think that this map will give them an edge over the likes of SR Peak Check. And, you know, for the set of SR Peak Check, it's definitely an interesting situation at the moment. I mean, do you think they try to mix something up going into this next push map, Mox?
Potentially we see a couple of subs come through from their side. Maybe we're going to see a different person playing the tank. Honestly, I'm hoping that we get to see a little bit more Fice Winston. Definitely impressed, but we can have a look at what are deciding to run in with, because we are seeing a substitute come through from them. Isaac is going to be sticking around, so no ball, no Wrecking Ball coming through from that tank, but Kaya is going to be coming back in. Kaya either to play the Torbjorn in terms of just anticipating that dive, wanting to play the counter, or more than likely to just play towards that Junkrat and just keep all of these really horrible avenues of space and chokes and tight corners and hallways that you have to walk through every single time you reset, spammed and locked down with Junkrat damage.
Yep. So far, Kai is undefeated. So, you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And for Isaac's side, you know, he's still staying in the game, like you said. You know, maybe we'll see if SRP Check decide to make a bit of a change. Maybe mix things up with their, you know, supports or DPS even on their side. You know, we have to wait and see as both the teams are still kind of deciding. But I think we can both agree that, you know, maybe on Esperanza this should be a better map for the likes of right?
Yeah, especially if Isaac decides to try and play towards this Junker Queen, because then that puts SRP Check in a really tough spot. If they want to play towards the Winston, well, we already talked to KSA about it. Junker Queen is one of those Winston counters because every single time you jump, you can literally just lob Jagged Blade and immediately grab him back, while that unfortunately sets the Winston's jump on cooldown and forces you into really overplaying your utility. Things like the Winston bubble have to be invested to make sure that you're able to safely make it to your back line.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if this team, you know, kind of mix things up. Also, I think they're still doing some like subs and stuff too on the side of SRP, because we have to wait and see. But you know, with Kaya have kind of been a force to be reckoned with. Also Love, like you said earlier, Circuit Royale played really well. Obviously it didn't end up in them getting that win, but earlier on, Love on Tracer has been so good. And really trying to close out right here and right now. If they don't, Moxie, you know, what does that mean? SRP Check win this next map potentially, then moving on to Control, they maybe have that momentum back on their side. So they don't seem to be out of it just yet.
Yeah, it's really tough though, because you think about any control point that we still have in the game, and it's still going to be favoring a lot of compositions that Oya like to run, especially with the way that Oya like to run. If they're able to find that first control point, they're literally just going to keep hounding you down, and that same game plan can be applied to the push mode map. So it really is important for SRP Check to win this first fight. So not only can they take away all of the spam angles that are available for Kaya and the flanks available for Love, but that they can make sure that they don't just keep getting pressured into taking these fights too early and losing too much distance because of that aggression.
Well, it looks like are we going to a short break, I believe, for just to see what's going on here with this matchup. We're going to a short break. When we come back, we'll see you guys for that map number 4.
You like solving problems. Problems like how to stop that Tracer from deleting your backline. I know just what you're thinking. You'll bring a turret. But y'all can't solve all your problems by simply bringing an extra friend to the battlefield. For that, you need the Contenders Torbjorn skin. Solve your problems by connecting your Battle.net account to Twitch. After that, watching Overwatch Contenders Summer Series will contribute to your drops progress, letting you claim your Overwatch Contenders Torbjorn skin. Even your turret gets an upgrade. Warning, the Overwatch Contenders Torbjorn skin does not come with extra or upgraded turrets. Build instructions will not be provided. By picking Torbjorn, you waive a claim towards any destroyed turrets. No refunds, no exchanges, and no take-backsies.
Welcome back, everybody. Bit of an update for you. Sorry for the extended break, but it seems like we have a bit of a change-up. After Circuit Royale, which, lost, SRP Check won to bring the series to 2-1. They could not field 5 members for that map number 4, then resulting in a rulebook win for So actually won the series up 3-1 over SRP Check because at the end of the day, I think SRP Check couldn't field 5 members. So very interesting situation to end the round robin. Would Moxie, it wouldn't be Contenders without a bit of a drama. It feels like this happens every freaking year, dude. But, you know, obviously, with that out of the way, we're going to take a look at the standings because we're going to move to the playoffs, obviously, in August. So when we take back a look at EMEA standings, I mean, we had a fantastic round robin. Bit of an awkward ending, but regardless, we had a lot of stories happen this season.
Yeah, a little bit of an awkward ending, but definitely an impactful one. Because off of that win, Oya are actually going to be able to hop over SRP Check and put themselves into 3rd seed as Twisted Minds, entirely undefeated, only dropping 2 maps in the entire tournament thus far. Sit at number 1 with XO, the closest behind them. It really is going to be up to all of these top 8 teams to try to push towards Twisted Minds and look for some improvement and potential change-ups as well in terms of their strategies, as we can actually have a look at how the bracket is going to be panning out for those playoffs. And already I see, Dustin, an incredibly interesting match, given the fact that Twisted Minds, they dropped 2 maps, one to EXO that we saw today, but that previous one was to the team that they're actually going to be going up against immediately. Raspberry Racers and Twisted Minds facing off against each other on the first day of playoffs.
Yeah, that should be intriguing. And meanwhile, you know, obviously, like I said, I just see like Raspberry Racers, you know, took that map off of Twisted Minds, but unfortunately have had kind of a rush stretch of games since then. You know, obviously we got those playoffs coming up, and I'm damn excited for it. But also, the end of the round robin in the North American side is ending today as well. Same with EMA just ended, so we're moving on to North America, in which leading up first we have Timeless versus the Good Boys, and then Rift in Dragon Dance.
Yeah, and you do not want to miss these 2 games because unlike EU, well, we knew ahead of today all of our 8 teams that were making it into playoffs. It was just a question of the order. Well, NA does not have the luxury. Every single player on these teams is going to be extremely stressed and pressured, as you can have a look at the standings and see a lot of players incredibly close to that cutoff point of number 8. So for all 4 of these teams still competing on broadcast, all is to play for. You do not want to miss those matches.
Yeah, and that's going to be it for us on the EMEA broadcast. Shout out to everybody working in production, you know, the observers, the admins, and all of the players too, and you, Moxie, for joining me for along in this round robin stage. And we have the playoffs coming up, and more importantly, like you said earlier, North America will be happening today on this very same stream. So if you stick around long enough, eventually the stream will come back online for the North American broadcast. But in the meantime, that's it from us from the round stopping stage. We'll see you guys later for North America.
Oh, hello! Fancy meeting you here. It's so nice to see ya. Are you ready to survive the wastelands? Then you'll need to bring your shotgun, your axe, and of course, your knife for your sharp wit, if you get my drift. Hey, whoa. Hold on there. Don't forget to pick up your Overwatch Contenders Junker Queen skin. Yeah, gearing up is as easy as connecting your Battle.net account to Twitch. And after that, watching the Overwatch Contenders Summer Series will contribute to your drop progression, letting you claim your own wasteland-ready Overwatch Contenders Junker Queen skin. Oh, that's right. It's time to rampage. Now, get out there and slay with the Overwatch Contenders Junker Queen skin. Okay, take care now. See you in chat.